Welcome to the Nissan pregame rush. Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy.
At times like this, you notice your own breathing, your heart beating, your mind spinning. You sense every line and shadow. You recall every practice, every hit. You feel the emotions of every man on the team, and they are ready. Ready to put the plan into action, turn the sacrifice into satisfaction. Hundreds of hours working, thousands of drills repeated, years of preparing, of dreaming, and now the moment has arrived. Beneath all the shouting, the stands shaking, the music blaring, the lights glaring, the cameras humming, that voice is your own. And it's saying, here we go.
The grand entrance of the Iowa Hawkeyes. And now the run out by the Stanford Cardinal. This has been the Nissan pregame rush. Now we go down to the middle of the field. Joining the officials and team captains at midfield for today's coin toss, the president of the Tournament of Roses, Mike Matheson, the Grand Marshal, Ken Burns. The referee for the Big 12 Conference is Reggie Smith.
Gentlemen, congratulations on your selection to the 102nd playing of the Rose Bowl game. I'm Reggie Smith, and this is Robert Richardson from the Big 12 Conference, and it's my honor and privilege to introduce today's dignitaries. The Tournament of Roses president, Mr. Mike Matheson, who will present today's coin, and the Tournament of Roses Grand Marshal, Mr. Ken Burns, who will toss the coin. Thank you. Today's coin features the logos of both teams, the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Stanford Cardinal. The team whose logo is heads up on the ground shall be the winner of the toss. Mr. Burns. Stanford has won the toss, and you would like to receive? Which way would you like to kick? Put your backs to that goal, turn and face them. Stanford has won the toss. They've elected to receive. Have a great game.
So Coach David Shaw wanting the football here. Over conferring with the official on the sideline. In 4 years, his third Rose Bowl game as the Stanford head coach. And on the other side, Kirk Ferentz, who has been an assistant coach 3 times here under Hayden Fry. But this is the first time at the Rose Bowl as a head coach. As we go down below now to Maria Taylor. Maria?
Well, Brent, Iowa has needed every single second of bowl preparation just to get back to healthy. Their leading rusher, Jordan Canzeri, actually rushed and sprained his ankle in the second carry of the game in the Big Ten championship. And his biggest message was that there was no way that he was going to miss this Rose Bowl matchup. And he says that he hopes to get to that 1,000-yard rushing point. He only has 24 yards left. Now also look out for quarterback C.J. Beathard, who has a sprained groin and says that he was going to play regardless, but is not quite 100%. And also Jordan Lomax, the starting free safety, is struggling with a knee injury.
Thank you, Maria. And our star of stars, Christian McCaffrey. He will touch the ball first if the kicker gives him an opportunity. And we will see what Marshall Kane does with this kickoff for the Hawkeyes. Did not get a chance, so it will come out now after the touchback on the 25-yard line. And here comes Kevin Hogan. This is his last game as quarterback of the Stanford Cardinal.
And Brad, Kevin Hogan is battle tested. He's a 4-year starter. This is his 46th start and his 3rd Rose Bowl game. He's played in a lot of big ones, makes phenomenal decisions with the football. He's going to have an opportunity, I think, here today to put up some impressive numbers. Because Stanford likes to run the ball as often as they do, I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for him in the play-action game, throwing it deep down the field. He's also very athletic. He can make some plays with his feet, too.
The game plan for Stanford is to use multiple tight ends. In practice, they use them all week long here in preparation. Hogan to the middle, and it's complete. McCaffrey! Will he score on the first play from scrimmage? Yes! A lightning bolt.
And we talked about this in our open, Brent. Stanford would try and use Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield versus linebackers and versus safeties one-on-one against that base defense that Iowa likes to play with. Iowa does not substitute a lot of extra DBs on the field, and right there you see why Christian McCaffrey, the most versatile player in the country.
Conrad Ukropina, he adds the extra point. And folks, he's a story today, adding that extra point. He's the only player who grew up in the city of Pasadena.
Going back and taking a look at this touchdown, it's very, very simple. They've got Christian McCaffrey right here. Lomax at safety is the guy that has to cover him man-to-man. This is simply an option route where he breaks inside. There are not very many running backs that can run the entire route tree. Christian McCaffrey's dad, of course, the great Ed McCaffrey, who played at Stanford, went on to have a phenomenal year with the Denver Broncos. Well, he passed those genes on to his son. This is just too easy, pitch and catch.
Let me interrupt you, Larry. Mom is Lisa, who played soccer at Stanford, and her father is David Syme, who was an Olympic silver medalist. And she just said to me, that's where the speed genes come
that's
from.
Right. And he's got a brother who plays at Duke as a wide receiver and an uncle that played basketball at Duke. The family genes are phenomenal. And I feel like the best of everybody kind of somehow got stuck with this guy, number 5, right here for Stanford. He's special.
Now it is imperative that the Hawkeyes answer here. They must not go 3 and out. Desmond King, their Jim Thorpe winner, 8 interceptions, who volunteered to return kicks and punts, stands back on the goal line for Kirk Ferentz. They will kick it short. He runs up to the 10, to the 29-yard line, and now we welcome the young man. And just when we talked to the coaches, they said that C.J. Beathard, one of his strengths was a quick arm.
Yeah, he's got a quick arm. He can also run and scramble. And I'll say this, he's not the flashiest quarterback in the country. He's certainly not the biggest. Doesn't have the strongest arm. He's not the fastest, but he just competes. He makes plays, and he's got tremendous toughness. He's played most of the year with a hip and a groin injury. He's got that X factor, that moxie. That's got to come through today.
Jordan Canzeri is starting, and that's good news for Iowa Hawkeye fans. Injured an ankle against Michigan State in the Big Ten championship. And we have movement up up front. The head linesman will come over to Reggie Smith now.
Ball start. Offense. Number 80. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
So let's take a look at tonight's Chick-fil-A impact players.
Well, we know that Kanziri has the injury to the ankle, but I was going to use a lot of backs. So LaShawn Daniels, Akram Wadley, a bunch of different guys are going to have to carry the football. Matt Vandenberg's the leading receiver for Iowa, has to make plays outside. Blake Martinez, a tackling machine, needs to play big against this running game. Very, very critical. There's a lot of key players in this contest.
Kanziri with the first carry. And Aziz Chatou makes the first stop of the game. He was a 5-star recruit for Stanford. Outstanding defensive line.
Brett, he was our 4th impact player. This is a guy up front for Stanford that does a phenomenal job in the run game. Extremely athletic, and he has the ability to defeat blocks with quickness off the line of scrimmage. Big reason why he was selected first team all Pac-12.
We would expect now Beathard to throw his first pass of the game. That's going to bring up 3rd and long early.
Now, one thing Stanford likes to do on 3rd down with respect to the pass rush is bring pressure. They stunt and move a lot of guys inside. I think there might have been a penalty flag down on that play, Brent.
Offside. Defense. Number 34. Lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
So Peter Kalambai is a junior out of North Carolina. One thing, when you look at the roster of the Stanford Cardinal, they recruited from all over the country. For the most part, just tremendous students and athletes up there at the farm. 2nd down and 7. As a result of the penalty, and now Beathard drops back. Derek Mitchell slips out of the backfield. He has the first reception. He's the 3rd down specialist. This will be 3rd and short. Dallas Lloyd with the stop.
And this is exactly where Iowa wants to be living in this football game. They want to avoid 3rd and long situations and obvious pass situations. Very big, very fortuitous, getting the offside penalty a snap ago. Now you get a short completion to the back. And this is what Iowa will do. Line up and count on their physical offensive line to reestablish the line of scrimmage and run the football downhill.
Austin Blythe is the center. He's the ringleader of this offensive line. On 3rd and 2, incomplete. Terrific coverage on Smith. That time by Ronnie Harris, who is playing today, recovering from an injury.
Surprised a little bit at the play call there. Knowing what Iowa's identity is, I'd expect them to run the ball in this situation, but a one-on-one matchup outside with Ronnie Harris. Very physical. There certainly was a lot of contact against Tavon Smith. That's one of those, it's a judgment call for the referee, but nice coverage nonetheless. Ronnie Harris, the guy that missed the last 2 games with an ankle injury. Big play on 3rd down.
And look who's back to return the punt. Mr. McCaffrey. Fair catch. 26-yard line. So Christian McCaffrey ignites the Stanford followers with a 75-yard catch and run. And folks, he brings speed to the dance.
Championship presented by AT&T, Alabama, Clemson, Monday, January 11th at 8:30 on ESPN.
It's in the genes, folks. The McCaffrey family. David Sy, Duke athlete, Olympic silver medalist in the 100 meters. Mom Lisa, Stanford soccer star in 87-9. Dad Ed McCaffrey also won a couple of Super Bowls with John Elway in Denver. Uncle Billy McCaffrey at Duke transferred to Vanderbilt. brother Max McCaffrey, a wide receiver at Duke. And as you might expect, Mom and Dad are with us here in the stands. And folks, by the way, there are 2 younger sons. They are outstanding high school football players in Colorado. Some of you recruiting, get on the trail. And the handoff is to McCaffrey, and he's to the 31-yard line.
Well, that run you just saw right there, Brent, that's what they call their power run. And that's really their bread and butter, where they pull the backside guard. They try and get a bigger body at the point of attack. And they really see those types of plays as body blows. And they're counting on the fact that 2- and 3-yard gains here early in the game on that play will turn into 8, 9, 10+ yard gains later.
On 2nd and 5, they just keep it on the ground. Power breaks free again, midfield, before he is out of bounds. The focal point of the Iowa defense was stop number 5, and clearly, so far, they are completely unable to do that.
And on this play, Brent, you really get to see the patience of Christian McCaffrey. This is where I think he's improved the most as a runner from a year ago, allowing blocks to set themselves up. Putting his foot in the ground, getting north-south. This guy runs between the tackles and outside.
Again, left side breaks another tackle. Out of bounds at the 30. Folks, he wears number 5 because of a legend who played at USC. When he was a youngster, he thought Reggie Bush was the best running back that he watched. He has a poster in his bedroom that he kept when he was growing up all through his high school years. And Christian McCaffrey wearing number 5 is showing you why he broke Barry Sanders' all-purpose yardage record. Another 19-yard gain. First down and 10. And speaking of the legend, Barry Sanders, there is his son. Now, Dad is not here today. He told us he's probably going to be watching for sure back home in the Detroit area. But Barry Sanders, of course, that's the record that Christian McCaffrey broke this year. Barry is going to graduate in the spring, but he could come back for another year at Stanford. Christian replaces him, and he's back. Play action, Hogan. And it'll be 3rd down and 9.
On these types of obvious passing situations, Iowa defensively likes to do something a little bit unique and different. It's what we used to call radar in the National Football League, where they kind of line up and you got defensive linemen, and then no one puts their hand in the ground, and they try to confuse the offensive line with respect to who's coming. Based on their personnel on the field right now, it doesn't look like they're getting to that package of plays right here, which means that they might suspect Stanford could still try and run the football in this 3rd and long situation.
Cajuste and Hooper. Austin Hooper, one of the best tight ends. And they throw to McCaffrey out wide. Another first down. He's down at the 15-yard line.
Yeah, you know, he's just not like Stanford running backs we've seen in the past. Guys like Tyler Gaffney or Stephon Taylor or Toby Gerhart. He can do so many different things, and that's why they've got to find creative ways to get him the football. So you're going to see them hand it off to him. You're going to see him today in the wildcat behind center, catching the ball out of the backfield like we saw in the first snap, and then lining him up at wide receiver and just letting Christian McCaffrey go to work in space.
In the red zone with the wildcat now. He can take the direct snap, as he'll do here through a pass against USC in the championship game, but he runs it close to the goal line. Desmond King makes the stop for the Hawkeyes, who are under fire here in the first quarter.
Seeing a lot of athleticism up front from Stanford and their offensive line, pulling guards, pulling tackles, and really trying to attack the perimeter of Iowa's defense in the running game. Not so much right up the gut, but getting number 5 outside in space. That's been the game plan early.
Keeps it. Touchdown. is Kevin Hogan's 6th rushing touchdown of the season. So with all eyes focused on number 5, Hogan keeps it and runs to the end zone for Stanford's 2nd touchdown. There was a whistle before the kick.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 78, 5-yard penalty, try for point.
That is a good tackle by the name of Kyle Murphy. As you take a look at the Stanford quarterback, 5th year, great veteran of the Rose Bowl wars, his 3rd game. Somewhat of an underrated quarterback, folks. He's going to get a long look by the NFL. Doesn't make any difference to you, Cropena. It's 14-0. The Hawkeyes have been shocked early. They must answer.
You've never been good at blending in with the crowd. And you've always been better at making waves than riding them. Your idea of a good time is different from everyone else's. There might be those who shy away from the spotlight. But you say, why fit in when you were born to stand out? The 2016 Nissan Altima has arrived.
The new year means the countdown begins to Zootopia.
Zootopia.
Zootopia. In Zootopia, anyone can be anything. These guys, they be naked.
All the way down.
Fireball. From the creators of Frozen and Big Hero 6, think fast. And act naturally.
Ice 'em. Daddy! No icing anyone at my wedding. I have to, baby. Daddy has to.
Fireball. Disney's Zootopia, March 4th in 3D.
AT&T presents the strongest of the strong.
We did it. Yeah, we made it.
Strong finish, boys.
Hey, guys. What'd I miss? Joe, I didn't know you're coming.
He's Joe Montana. He's kind of got an open invitation. I hope it's not awkward between you two.
Awkward? Why would it be awkward?
Yeah. I mean...
Right there. Oh, shit. But it's been a long time. Yeah.
Get stronger with AT&T, the network with the nation's strongest 4G LTE signal.
The 2016 Rose Bowl game is presented by Northwestern Mutual. We help you live life differently. And in part by Taco Bell's Crunchwrap Sliders. 4 full-size flavors, just $1 each. AT&T, mobilizing your world. And Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy.
Well, that famous intersection, Orange Grove and Colorado, where the Grand Parade makes that turn. Much quieter now. Many of the folks, of course, are in the stadium. But if you ever get a chance, it is just a great show to go over to the parade. Here it is, Stanford 14, Iowa nothing, and the Hawkeyes need a lift. Let's see if King can give it to him. Breaks a tackle, battles his way out to the 26-yard line. Well, DirecTV takes you inside the drive, Jesse, as we take a look at that last touchdown.
Yeah, Kevin Hogan can hurt you with his legs, especially down in the red zone. This is a simple zone read, a fake to Christian McCaffrey, and the guy that Hogan's keying is Parker Hesse. Once he bites inside with the fake, then he's just going to keep the football and get outside and puts him one-on-one with the safety, Jordan Lomax. Remember, it was Lomax who got beat on the route by Christian McCaffrey on the first play of the game there. Poor job tackling in space, and Stanford up early here, 14-0.
And 140 total yards already for McCaffrey, receiving and running. as they slip it to Matt Vandenberg on the outside. That's a good first down with Holder defending it for the Cardinals.
And this is already uncharted waters for the Iowa Hawkeyes. They had never trailed by more than 7 points all season long. Already here, with about 9 minutes to go in the first quarter, this is the largest deficit they've faced. Kirk Ferentz going to find out a lot about his team early here. How do they handle this adversity?
So he stepped out of bounds without getting the first down. As I said, on that first down play, it was a good game. And here is Kanziri. Now third down coming up for the Hawkeyes. Derek Mitchell checks into the backfield, number 32. He's the specialist. Jordan Kanziri comes to the sideline. Mitchell has already caught a pass here today. He's also a good pass blocker. They need 4 yards here. Stanford rushing 4. They get to him in the release. And under pressure, a tremendous throw by C.J. Beathard, who took a hit but still found Hillier for the first down. Good play by C.J.
Really nice toughness because he hung in there in the pocket. You see him limping here after that shot. He took a monster one. Stanford runs a twist this way inside that Iowa doesn't pick up. I think that was big Kevin Anderson who got his paws on him. He just stared it down, delivered an accurate throw underneath, and that kept the drive alive. Wow.
First down and 10. Daniels, and Strong along with a penalty flying on the play.
They might have gotten a holding call.
Holding offense, number 65. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
That's Jordan Walsh, the guard, guilty of that.
It's important, Brent, in this game that Iowa established a running game. Again, that's their identity. That's what they do. And they should feel confident that they can do that. You know, they had struggled with it against Michigan State in the Big Ten title game. But I don't think Stanford's front seven defensively has the size athleticism combination as the Spartans. Stanford has given up running yards, rushing yards this year. And I think Iowa, it's something they got to stick with on the ground and really try and establish the line of scrimmage as this game goes on.
With the first and 20, Derek Mitchell is back in as the running back. Slips out. Beathard couldn't pick him up. So what Beathard does, he picks up a few yards with his feet. And we want to remind everybody that your New Year's Day college football fix continues tonight, 8:30 Eastern. Final game of the New Year's Six All-State Sugar Bowl for the Superdome in New Orleans. Oklahoma State battles Ole Miss. The game is also streaming live on Watch ESPN. As we send congratulations out to Clemson, players and staff, Alabama, players and staff as they head for the national championship game a week from Monday. Glendale, Arizona. Second down and 13. Throw in underneath to Henry Krieger-Coble, one of the very active tight ends for this team. George Kittle is the other one.
And I think one of the places Iowa has an advantage offensively in the pass game is at tight end. And you just mentioned it, Brent. Krieger-Coble. They've got another one in George Kittle. Two athletic guys that can line up at different parts of the field. And in situations like this, critical third downs, working the middle of the field against zone coverage could be a space that C.J. Beathard decides to attack.
This is a money down for the Hawkeyes. 3rd and 6, trailing by 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. Beathard going to try to run for it. He got it. With his feet, keeps the drive alive.
And Brent, we talked about the escapability that C.J. Beathard has and the toughness. Remember, he was just limping after a huge shot he took from Kevin Anderson a few snaps ago. But you have to rush with great gap integrity. You see to the left side of the screen, there's a big hole that Stanford gave up. And as soon as Beathard saw that, he put his foot in the ground and took off.
14 yards on 3rd and 6. LaShawn Daniels, whose brother is playing left guard. So both of the Daniels boys are out there. Here comes LaShawn trying to pick his way out to the 39-yard line. Iowa and Stanford territory for the first time here today. The Daniels brothers are such an interesting story. LaShawn, the running back, he's a junior. His brother is a freshman. Both went to Warren, Ohio. Their daddy was a heck of a football player. Did he go to Iowa? No. He played in the Rose Bowl for Ohio State. Complete. And that will make it 3rd and short as they work Vandenberg in the sideline.
Well, the key is what you just mentioned, Brent, staying 3rd and short and having the ability to either run or throw the football and try and keep Stanford off balance. On 3rd downs, those are the downs Stanford's defense likes to bring pressure, and they like to slant and twist their defensive line, and it's been that slanting and twisting that has given Iowa's O-line a lot of issues here all season long. Going in an empty formation, this would look like another pass play.
With the backfield empty on 3rd and 3. Beathard picked off. Intercepted. Headed for the end zone. Touchdown. Stanford. A 3-touchdown lead as Quentin Meeks, a freshman, picks it off and dances to the end zone. And right now, it's a mauling by the Stanford Cardinal after the 66-yard pick six.
When you're throwing the ball on a 3-step drop, there has to be great timing. The throw was late. And if you're going to miss an out-breaking route, you have to miss it outside to the boundary, not inside. Great job there by the nickel corner, Quentin Meeks, jumping all over that, and the freshman goes pick 6.
So last night, it was Alabama's defense doing the job against Michigan State. But here, this afternoon, well, first it was the Stanford offense, but they're saying we could play a little defense too. A pick 6, and it's 21-zip. Aerial coverage over the Rose Bowl provided by Goodyear. Whether you drive 100 yards or 100 miles, choose Goodyear tires for superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. So the Hawkeyes, I'm sure, are shocked, trailing 21-0 here as we welcome back to the game presented by Northwestern Mutual. For Stanford, everything coming up roses. David Shaw has done a fabulous job. Here we come again with King. Now close to the 30-yard line. So we'll come back to see if the Hawkeyes can bounce off the mat and carve into that huge Stanford lead. For Iowa, the sun was shining much brighter earlier in the season. Against Pittsburgh, a 57-yard game-winning field goal. And then against a ranked team, victory over then number 19, Wisconsin. And beating up on the team that defeated Stanford, Northwestern. But in the Big Ten title game, coming down to the end, needed one more stop. Couldn't get it, and Michigan State handed them their first loss of the year. Now Kirk Ferentz is a veteran coach, and the one thing he knows, patience. You can't get it all at once. You got to get back one at a time. You got to play better defense against them, and so here we go. A power I formation. They get out of the one back. Daniels will be the running back.
And I really think, their patience will be tested right now, Brent, but I agree with what you're saying. There is so much football left in this game. You don't have to get away from who you are, but you are down now 3 touchdowns, and it puts a real premium on execution, ball security. They've had an untimely turnover that turned into a pick 6. You got to be better with the penalties. Already had a couple of those as well. Got to play smarter. They're going to work their way back in this football game.
Kanziri Here is that third down and short, Jess.
Yeah, and really the thing that surprised me the most with Iowa early in this game is throwing the football on third and short situations. Early in the game, we saw an incompletion to Stephon Smith. That last third down obviously was a pick six. For a team that likes to run the football, I don't mind spreading the field. These are opportunities. You get in third and short situations, you can be who you are, run the football, and put some confidence on your offensive line and your backs to generate these first downs.
Mitchell alongside. They're going to go again. Now under pressure, and down goes Beathard. You know, Jesse was hesitating simply because of the trouble he has had on this third and short. So to your point, go ahead and run a draw play or something, or throw a short screen pass in that situation, or just run a power play.
Right. I think you do have to give Stanford's defense a lot of credit here, because this is a total coverage sack. There was nowhere for C.J. Beathard to go with the football. He was forced to hold on to it much longer than he wanted to. That allowed the pursuit to get to him. But to your point, Brent, what we said earlier, third and short situations, Iowa needs to go back to thinking about running the ball.
McCaffrey will let this one bounce out of bounds. Well, if it's on ESPN, it's streaming live on the ESPN app, which means you can take us with you wherever you go on your phone or tablet. You know, Jess, a frame of reference for you and me is a couple weeks back we were in Las Vegas for the Vegas Bowl. And I remember that first quarter when Utah bolted to a 35-0 lead on BYU. Did. Wound up 35-28.
Yeah.
BYU dug back in. So that's the end of my hype for this game.
That was a really strong sell. I think people at home are listening to you. And it's true, folks. You can go and check the box score. BYU came back in that game and made it a contest. See if Iowa can do it here.
There, McCaffrey is the running back. He's alongside Hogan. The screen to the wide receiver, and that's Bryce Love, a very talented freshman. For you Stanford fans, and actually for Pac-12 fans, football fans, keep an eye on number 20. He's only a freshman. He's from Wake Forest, North Carolina, and he too, like McCaffrey, he's a burner, folks.
And Iowa has to keep their eyes on him when he's on the field, because when he is, something's up. Tremendous speed. Stanford wants to get him about 5 to 10 touches in this game, get him out in space, and see if he can hurt this defense.
Second down and 8. Going to give McCaffrey a lead blocker, and unable to find much daylight that time. Cole Fisher was there for the Hawkeye defense.
Really one of the first times we've seen a third and long situation, obvious passing down for Stanford. Very, very important here. This offensive line gives Kevin Hogan a clean pocket as Christian McCaffrey leaves the field. Iowa now, they're making a mass substitution, bringing their best pass rushers on. And here you're going to see that radar look, where everybody up front for Iowa is in a stand-up stance. No one up here in a three-point stance. They're trying to confuse this Stanford O-line and see if they can get a free rusher.
It's a very good offensive line. Didn't fool him. Hogan goes deep down that sideline. And I do not see a penalty flag. Cajuste was the target, working deep
against the true freshman in Josh Jackson. I think that was a good idea for Kevin Hogan in terms of a guy to attack. You've got a 6'4" receiver, and Devin Cajuste outside running the double move. He got behind the true freshman Jackson, but nice catch-up speed, great coverage. It was a clean play. That's a defensive stop the Iowa Hawkeyes needed to try and create some momentum.
It was Alex Robinson. He'll punt it away here for Stanford, their first punt of the afternoon. And it's not a good one. So let's go down below to our colleague, Maria Taylor. Maria, what's up with the Iowa sideline?
Well, Brent, to start the game, there was a look of shock as Stanford went up 21-0, but Coach Ferentz came over and told his defense, do not worry about the score. We can eventually score points against Stanford. We have to get it one stop at a time. There's not a lot of talk going on between players, but Coach has been very vocal with both of his units trying to bring them back into this game.
On the other side, of course, enjoying that big lead. C.J. Beathard so far is 5 of 7, but for only 28 yards. They're going to try Wadley as the running back. Now, Wadley was the back who had such a big day against Northwestern. And you're left to wonder if Stanford had started their season in better fashion. They went to Evanston, and they were stunned by the Wildcats. They were dominated in that game. Second down and 9. And the running back slips up on the 20-yard line. Aziz Shadoo was there. He's a good one. The end of the first quarter. All the big plays belong to the Pac-12 champion, Stanford Cardinal. Opened up with a 75-yarder, and they simply took it from there.
AT&T presents the strongest of the strong.
What are you guys doing to get pumped for the game?
Streaming Rudy. That's a great movie.
I like that movie.
Yeah, I love it.
Strong movie.
Yes, sir. Let's see what we're looking.
Hey, guys.
That's not Rudy. That's actor Sean Astin.
Yeah. Rudy.
You can call me Sean, guys. It's been 22 years.
Come on, Rudy. Come relax.
Please call me Sean.
Rudy! Rudy! Rudy!
Get stronger with AT&T, the network with the nation's strongest 4G LTE signal.
The Pac-12 Conference has for a century united the West through academic and athletic excellence. For the next 100 years, the Pac-12 will continue to champion meaningful change, reinforcing our commitment to academics, redefining the student-athlete's experience, and using technology to reimagine fan engagement. This is our legacy, but also our blueprint for the future. A conference of champions born 100 years ago, the year the West was won.
Welcome you back to the Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual. Stanford dominating Iowa the first 15 minutes. The Hawkeyes open the second quarter with a 3rd down and 10.
Got to make sure, Brent, here the offensive line handles the stunting and movements of Stanford's pass rush.
Was that movement too early, or was number 7 drawn off?
I think it's going to be defensive.
Offside. Defense. Number 7 came into the neutral zone, causing an offensive reaction. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
That makes it 3rd and much more manageable here for C.J. Beathard.
A guy that they like going to on 3rd downs is their leading receiver, and a guy we talked about, Matt Vandenberg, and right now he's lined up in the slot to the wide side of the field for Iowa. Number 89, good route runner and good hands.
Beathard is tripped up, could not escape Kevin Palma, the linebacker, and Palma would not let loose.
Well, and that's where C.J. Beathard wanted to go with the football, but Stanford that time double covered Matt Vandenberg in the slot. Here he is right here trying to run an in route, but watch once he gets to the middle of the field. You've got Meeks right there covering him. Then you've got a linebacker, and then another one in Blake Martinez. C.J. Beathard again forced to hold on to the football, and that allowed for the 2nd sack by Stanford.
Dylan Kidd, Deerfield Beach, Florida, punts it away. And here's McCaffrey from the 38. Dances free. Got a man to beat. Midfield. 2 downfield. Cuts back. Headed for his 2nd touchdown of the game. Light up the magazine covers next August, folks. What a battle for the Heisman Trophy. Here we've got Christian McCaffrey, and down LSU way, Leonard Fournette. Light him up, boys.
You simply cannot afford to give Christian McCaffrey a crease, or he will absolutely kill you. with the foot speed he has and the vision and the quickness, this is one of those unique athletes and unique football players you just don't see very often. Hard to imagine he's only a true sophomore.
This is special. I talked to someone who lived in his neighborhood back in Colorado. He said he went over and watched all the high school games, and he said Christian ran all over the field, scored touchdowns every week for his high school team. He said, I had no idea how good he was going to be until I watched him here against USC in the Pac-12 championship. This is a 63-yard touchdown. Earlier, if you just joined us, he went 75 yards. He's a magic man, folks.
Design.
Let's do a fresh start. Want everything in its place? Start at the place that has everything for Christmas. For laundry. For less. Let's do this. 64-quart latching totes, now just $6.48 each. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Whether you drive 100 yards or 100 miles, choose Goodyear tires for superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. How about those wheels that Christian McCaffrey sports, eh? Mom up in the stands there with Pops. King will take a knee and come out of 25. Jess, tonight's Capital One pivotal performance, no question, lad.
Surprise, surprise. And you're seeing really the entire toolkit from Christian McCaffrey. First play of the game, out of the backfield, working against the safety Lomax. It's not a competition. Too easy, pitch and catch, puts on the afterburners, and he's gone. You've seen them hand the football off to him conventionally outside, showing you the patience in the running game. We've seen him in the wildcat. Again, pulling linemen out in front, using his power and his ability to break tackles. And finally, in the return game, you've got to make a guy miss. On this return, he made Iowa's leading tackler, Josie Jewell, completely whiff before he took it in. This young true sophomore just commands the football.
Daniels with the handoff for the Hawkeyes. He breaks free. Out to the 40-yard line, their strongest run of the game. Kind of by.
And this game can't get too much further out of hand for Iowa because they're not built as an offense to throw the football 40 times to win a game. You're down 4 possessions now. There's still plenty of time. You still need to run the football if you're Iowa, but you can't allow this thing to snowball on you here because that's just not what you're built to do offensively to stay competitive.
Drops it off to his running back Daniels, and he's close to another first down.
Well, Daniels is a guy that I think kind of fits well in this game because of his style of running. He's the biggest back that Iowa has. At 6 feet tall, 225 pounds. He's extremely physical, and he's downhill. And he's a guy that I think they can lean on a little bit here at this point in the juncture of the game. Running between the tackles, checking the football down to him in the pass game, as you saw right there.
Down. Daniels giving him a bit of a lift with his legs here. battles his way across the 45-yard line.
And I like it because Stanford defensively, they're not the same dominant defense that we're used to seeing in years past. You can run on them. And their front seven, especially their D-line, they're a bit undersized. They can get pushed around and moved a little bit. I wouldn't say Stanford's a great tackling defense this year. As a result, they've given up 200 rushing yards in a game 3 different times this year, give up a bunch of yards to USC in the Pac-12 title game. I think Iowa needs to stick with this formula, keep it on the ground.
Second down and long. No daylight for Daniels.
Of course, what Stanford wants to do defensively here is win first and second down and set up those third and long situations. The one good thing Stanford has going for themselves defensively, they have better depth in their front seven. I remember calling a game of theirs mid-season against UCLA. They were rotating 3 defensive linemen. That's all they had. They've got about 6, 7, 8 guys they could play in this game, try and keep them fresh. Solomon Thomas, nose tackle right there, one of those guys.
Beathard avoids the rush and drops it off short to Canzeri. But it's another third down, and it's going to be a third down and long. The fellow they need to get into this, Jesse, is number 46, George Kittle. They've got to somehow find these tight ends and go to work with it.
Yeah, I mean, those are the quarterback's best friend. Even more than anything, I think Beathard needs somebody to get open and beat coverage, because for the most part today in this game, black jerseys have had 1 white jersey or 2 white jerseys all over.
Deflected. That was the linebacker who's had a terrific day, Peter Kalambayi.
And it was a great job by Kalambayi, who was on a blitz. Kind of pulled up and saw C.J. Beathard pulling the trigger, and then he was able to jump up in the air and knock this thing down. You're going to see him coming from this side. 34, he's not going to get there, uses his eyes, stops the rush, just plays the football. Very nice athletic play by Peter Kalambayi, forcing the punt.
Well, we're going to get to see him again. Number 5 back deep here for the Cardinal. He'll fair catch it. So showing good judgment also. Fair catch at the 14-yard line. McCaffrey and Stanford leading the Hawkeyes by 4 touchdowns.
The 2016 Rose Bowl game, brought to you by Gatorade. Fueling today, fueling the future. Ford, we go further so you can. And Chick-fil-A, we didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich.
The Tournament House here in Pasadena, as we wish a very happy new year to all the workers and the volunteers who make this such a special weekend in Pasadena, California. They do a grand job year after year after year as you look down on that wonderful building. Happy New Year, everybody. It has certainly been a happy new year for the McCaffrey family so far. Christian McCaffrey leading Stanford to a 28-0 lead. He's back in. He's the eye back. And Christian will come again as we check in down below with Maria. Maria, what a job so far by Christian.
Yeah, and we're seeing just how special he is, Brent, but his senior quarterback, Kevin Hogan, says as soon as he stepped foot on campus, he knew that this was going to be a great guy. After practice, he said he walked right up to the coach's offices, and for the first time, he said, there's an underclassman that we have to play. We have no choice. And ever since that he's been a part of the Stanford program, he said that he's done things that he's never seen a player do ever in practice and in games.
On second down, Hogan with the completion to Cajuste. You know, Maria, he was quite frustrated. I'm talking about Christian McCaffrey now. As a freshman, he really wanted to play more. Remember, he'd been everything in high school back in Colorado, and he told the coaches, but the coach said, get in that weight room, work a little bit harder, and so he did. He's much stronger than.
Well, yeah, just take a look at him. I mean, this guy is absolutely rocked up. When you watch him in pregame running around, I mean, he's mesomorphic. Does not look like a 19-year-old true sophomore.
The yardage total continues to climb. Here comes McCaffrey. Could be number 3. Hold on, everybody. There's a penalty flag on this one. Oh, this is something. Players appear to be headed back. This one's not going to count.
Holding, offense, number 89. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. 1st and 10.
And Brad, it was Devin Kajus, the wide receiver, who was way down the field blocking on the cornerback, Desmond King. And on the play, Desmond King kind of got himself turned around, discombobulated, lost track of where McCaffrey was. But watch 89 right here. He just barely grabs the left shoulder pad, and that's all it took to hold up King. That's a great call. That is holding. And that, of course, negates the long touchdown by McCaffrey.
There's no question about it. That freed him at that particular.
And the fact that he turned him and pulled and twisted him back, I think, is why that call was made.
And Ed saw it. You saw his father reach up. He saw the penalty, knew what it was. Play action. Hogan steps way up in the pocket, fires, and another penalty. This one probably going to go against Iowa, the side judge.
The same two guys that were just mixed up in the holding play get mixed up here again. This time Kajus versus King in the pass route. And there's a guy, Desmond King, that we haven't even talked about in this game yet, Brent. He was the Jim Thorpe Award winner as the nation's outstanding defensive back, second in the nation with 8 interceptions.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 14. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And it came right off the line of scrimmage, Brent. Right on the release by Kajust. I think Desmond King grabbed his face mask. Just check here right at this top. Yeah, left hand. He's got it held, and he pulls and twists. And when you do that, that's when you get the face mask call.
Another good call by our Big 12 officiating crew here this afternoon. First down and 10. And the ball is in Hawkeye territory. Barry Sanders is the running back. He's out now with a little screen, and they overthrow him. That could have been a good game.
You know, the amazing, and we're talking about Christian McCaffrey, and you ask yourself, well, why don't you just give this guy the football every play? The fact is, Stanford has 4 excellent running backs as McCaffrey now comes back on the field, but Raymond Wright will get in the game in short yardage goal line situations. Barry Sanders. We've talked about Bryce Love. They've got a lot of different guys that when they have the ball in their hands are very, very dangerous, and then they can therefore spell Christian McCaffrey.
As they have right now with Wright, as you just saw there, Jesse, where you were talking about that depth at running back, and here comes Wright. Terrific short yardage runner, powerful runner. Picked up, it looked like about 9 yards.
The amazing
and it'll come to third down.
Yeah, the amazing thing to me about Stanford is just how multiple they are in the run game. 2-back sets, 1-back sets, between the tackles outside, quarterback runs, zone read, wildcat, jet sweeps, multiple offensive linemen like you're seeing right now. They can play with 7 or 8 different O-linemen in these short yardage situations to bring in the beef. There it is. How do you prepare for all this, even if you have a month if you're Iowa?
Fanaka, Brandon Fanaka wears number 94. He's down there. Here comes Jumbo. And by golly, that was good Hawkeye defense that time. Wright tried to get airborne on it and did not pick up the first down.
Now, Stanford is the best 4th down offense in the entire country. They've converted 12 of 14 4th downs on the season, and I would expect, no doubt, Stanford to go for this here. There's going to be a timeout call. Someone's going to talk about it. But if I'm David Shaw in Stanford, I'm going.
So we've got a timeout down on the field here with 9:25 to go in the second quarter.
Last play.
We're going to measure this.
Yeah. Well, there's a great surge up front by Iowa's D-line, and then it was their middle linebacker, Josie Jewell, second in the Big Ten in tackles. It kind of leaped up over the pile to meet Raymond Wright.
The yellow line never lies.
You got a great set of eyes, partner. I'll say that. That is a legit yard right there almost. And here's why. Check this out. Just look at the surge, how low I was able to get at the very last second. You see 27 going up. Great contact made right at the point of attack. There's 43, Jewell, who makes the play. Jordan Lomax got involved, and I think they're going to have to do it again. You see number 64, David Bright for Stanford. He's in the huddle. He plays what they call that ogre position. Kind of lines up as an extra tight end outside. A lot of weight on the left side down here of this formation for Stanford.
So here's your fourth. Stepped over to the left side. I think that Hogan may have seen that that was the place to go when he changed things up. When you talk to the coaches about Kevin Hogan, it's interesting that he talks to the backs and the linemen about the blocking that he wants in a given game. That's how bright Kevin Hogan is. The coaches actually stand in the back and watch him.
Well, on that side, they had 2 extra offensive linemen. They had Nick Davidson at 285 pounds and David Bright at 294 pounds. That's the way Kevin Hogan wanted to go. And they got a great lead block by their fullback, Chris Harrell, who, by the way, weighs 244 pounds himself. But nice job at the line of scrimmage by Hogan, getting him in the right play.
Now Magic is back. The fake. That's a play. He faked a fumble. Gonna go deep. Got a man. Touchdown. A play they practiced all week. Michael Rector on a fake fumble. You freeze the safeties. And Hogan came up firing. How about that?
And that's a play I've never seen actually run in a game, but executed beautifully.
It was executed in practice perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, and it's Kevin Hogan with his ball skills being Houdini in the backfield, forcing Iowa's defense to freeze just for a second. That allowed Michael Rector to get deep.
I want to tell you one thing about that play. Ukropina adds the extra point. Jesse, in practice, you couldn't hear with the crowd here, but in practice, the players on Stanford yell, now as he puts it down, they yell, fumble, fumble. And that freezes the defense just enough, and he comes up firing.
Out by design.
We welcome you back to the Rose Bowl and the Stanford Show, presented by Northwestern Mutual. 11-2016. So Stanford to kick it off again. Ukropina changes his number when he kicks off. Number 92, and there is King. He's going to come out of the end zone. He is down. We're going to bring in our ESPN college football rules expert, David Kataya, on this play. He's up in the booth with Jesse and me. And David, on that fumble play, did they come close to violating any rule? Talk us through this.
Brent, no, they did not. What Hogan did was he took the ball. He appeared that he did intentionally place it on the ground, but that doesn't make the ball dead. Okay, the snap was legal. He possessed it. Unlike the old fumble Ruski that was illegal that they changed, where you put the ball down and then they take off. So that play was legal.
Thank you, David, and Happy New Year. Glad to have you with us, lad. And now Kanzeri will get the handoff. Iowa has to be shell-shocked.
Absolutely. And I really think this was a team that came into this game with a ton of confidence, Brent, after going 12-0 in the regular season. Remember, they were losing at Michigan State in the Big Ten title game with 27 seconds to go late. They were so close to reaching the college football playoff. I think they came into this game really expecting to match up with Stanford. Right now, looking at the scoreboard, I don't think they can believe their eyes.
So Beathard, can he get the first down? No, because of a sharp tackle by Meeks. who already has a pick 6 to his credit. There's a youngster we're going to be hearing a lot of. He's a freshman out of San Diego.
And his dad was Ron Meeks, who was the defensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts when they won a Super Bowl just a few years back. Only a freshman. He's got good size at 6'2". I think he's got a real bright future here at Stanford. Obviously, he had the pick 6 earlier in the game. Got a good-looking cornerback on this defense for years to come.
3rd down and 5. First down, Vandenberg close to midfield.
And that's the 3rd down answer. And finally, somebody from Iowa gets open for C.J. Beathard. It's Matt Vandenberg, who I think runs really, really well, has good change of direction. He's in the slot working against Meeks. Nice job kind of juking to the outside, presenting a target, accurate throw on time. That's a first down that Iowa needed desperately. And I think now down 35-0, they got to think about picking the tempo up a little bit.
Daniels checks in as the running back. Stretches the play, didn't gain much. Palma again active over there.
Big problem that what Iowa has on offense is that they just don't generate a lot of explosive plays in the pass game, which obviously would be huge right now in this one. They just don't have an outside threat at receiver that really scares an opposing defense. Because they can't take the top off a defense, they're oftentimes forced to go 8, 10, 12 plays to have to score. There's an example of an explosive guy right there in Christian McCaffrey. And Iowa, at some point, they're going to have to start taking some shots and pushing the ball down the field.
Second down and 9, but it makes it 3rd down and manageable with LaShawn Daniels, one of the Daniels brothers here.
You just think, find a way to stop the bleeding. And if you're Iowa, under 6 minutes to go in this game, you're possessing the football, you're now in Stanford territory. To get a score here late in the quarter and keep Stanford off the scoreboard the rest of the way. Remember, Iowa's going to get the football back first in the second half, receiving. He's got to find a way to kind of generate some confidence and momentum here going in at halftime.
3rd down and 2. Run formation. Daniels sort of tiptoed to the hole, though, and Stu covered it up really good. Aziz is a fine football player, number 7. Big-time recruit when he came to Stanford.
Tremendous quickness and athleticism at 6'3", 280 pounds, and he's been unblockable in this first half for Stanford. In the running game, he's winning his matchup up front, shooting himself into the gap. And right here, 4th down, score 35-0, no doubt about it. Iowa's going, and they should.
Need 3 yards. Canzeri is back in as the running back.
Man-to-man across the board, Brent. Someone's got to win in a route.
Beathard in deep trouble. Had to throw to Canzeri, and it looks like he stepped out just short, if that's going to be the mark. The head linesman's going to put it down, and they'll measure it. Pressure was coming from, I want to tell you, their linebacker right now, Kalambayi. Peter Kalambayi has been the defensive player along with Meeks here in the first half. Kalambayi has made all kinds of plays for the Cardinals.
Yeah, especially blitzing, and that's sort of his forte. But I thought that was a great play by C.J. Beathard. Because of the blitz, he was hot. He had to find his answer, and that was Canzeri running the flat route. Everything that Beathard could do just to get the ball out of his hands. The ball was bobbled by Canzeri, held on, and you're right, this is extremely close, and this is a measurement that Iowa needs to go their way.
And they got it.
Wow.
By an inch.
Excellent individual efforts by both Beathard, Canzeri, leaders on this offense that have to step up and make plays. Look at the bobble, just his ability playing injured to stay with that ball, keep his focus before the linebacker Palma pushed him out of bounds. They retain possession, 4 minutes, 30 seconds to go. They can play at their tempo here, but they've got to get on the board here before halftime.
Now Wadley is in as the Iowa running back. Hole in the middle, and Wadley takes it before Whitfield. Cody Whitfield. There's a familiar name to many of you football fans. Cody Whitfield, their safety. That's Bob Whitfield's son.
It doesn't look like Bob. I played with Bob with the New York Giants.
I couldn't believe it. And there he is, number 5, and he's a fine safety here.
Bob was an outstanding offensive tackle at Stanford and in the NFL for years. Cody Whitfield, a much smaller, much quicker version of his dad.
2nd down and 4 now. They've got another first down. They're starting to move the ball here a little bit with Watley.
And I really like the football IQ of C.J. Beathard here on this drive. You saw him a couple plays ago find the answer against the blitz and Kanziri on a critical 4th down. He's audibling at the line of scrimmage, changing the run plays from one side to the other, keeping the offense in its best play possible. Hard to imagine this guy really only started a game and a half a year ago, but his football IQ is off the charts.
Whistle before the snap.
Ball start. Offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Well, Saturday, the college football season rolls on with the TaxSlayer Bowl at noon Eastern. It will be the Penn State Nittany Lions taking on Georgia. Then at 3:20, the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Kansas State against Arkansas. So the Penn State-Georgia game, that's another Big Ten SEC matchup. First down and 15. Watley, and he's upended by Blake Martinez, one of the fine linebackers. 132 tackles on the season. He's from Tucson, Arizona.
And he has phenomenal instincts, Brent. He has the ability to dissect what's happening in the backfield and beat offensive linemen and slit blocks and get to the point of attack. And he doesn't miss tackles very, very often. It's hard to fathom. He's got 80 more tackles coming into this game than any other player on defense. It's hard to do that. Blake Martinez, the real deal.
CJ in trouble. He's going out of bounds. He sort of flipped it, trying to avoid any kind of a loss.
C.J. Beathard's receivers have to help him out when he gets into these scramble drills. A couple times you've seen today in this game that he's getting flushed out of the pocket. When that happens, these guys, they need to start working themselves. You see them just standing around. You got to start working yourself into open areas. You see there's Tavon Smith at the top of the screen, not open, working to the boundary, but just nowhere for C.J. Beathard to go. I'll do a better job outside trying to help out this quarterback and give him a target. I'd say the secondary for Stanford has really won the one-on-one matchups early in this game.
So the officials are over on the side, charting the down and distance here and the chains over there. Now, the question is, did the quarterback step out of bounds? It was very close over there. Remember he sort of flipped it downfield? CJ did?
It looks like he was still in bounds when he flipped this. Just watch his feet right here, and it's really the right one. It's way in bounds.
No question.
Before that ball comes out of his hand. And because he's outside the pocket, all he has to do is flip that thing past the line of scrimmage for it not to be intentional grounding.
The previous spot has come into question because the box and chains moved.
Never heard that before. I'm not sure. I'm glad we got Katai up here in the booth.
Let's put him under the... No. Well, I'll tell you, I used to officiate Pop Warner everything in the Pac-10. I have seen that chains move on their own, so I think they're resetting them, I hope.
Yeah, they'll get it straightened down. One way or the other, this is going to be a 3rd down and long coming up here for the Hawkeyes with 2:13 remaining. complete, but well short of the first down, and that was to Tavon Smith. That's his first reception.
Yeah, and he's a guy that they need to start looking at more. Tavon Smith is the best deep threat that Iowa has. We talked about them not having a pure, scary deep threat that takes the top off defenses, but this is a guy with his playmaking ability that needs to come up big for the Hawkeyes.
So we've got a timeout at the 2:07 mark. Stanford bringing in the new year.
The parties are over. The corks have been popped. Two teams remain. Clemson, Alabama, college football's highest stakes. The national championship on ESPN.
Alabama Clemson for the championship, and I spoke with Jimmy Vaccaro over at the South Point in Las Vegas earlier today. Right now, Bama is favored by 7 over Clemson. He expects it to stay that way until late in the week. He said the sharp money is waiting to see if it goes to 7.5 or 8. So right now, Alabama, and there it is, no respect again for the Clemson Tigers. 4th down and 7 now. Flag flying.
Ball start. Offense, number 65. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
This is just not Kirk Ferentz Iowa Hawkeyes football that we've seen in this game. One thing that he consistently preaches to his team, and one of the big keys for them week in, week out, is winning the turnover battle, being smart in penalties. It was something they did such a good job of throughout the entire course of the year. And in this game today, just very unlike them, and a big reason why they're down 35-0 right now.
Facing a 4th and 12. Lost his helmet as it was grabbed. Let's see, I don't see a penalty flag down there at all, as he was sacked viciously.
It was Blake
and with the helmet off, he's going to have to come out. Well,
it was a 4th down anyway, yeah. It was Blake Martinez on a blitz that came screaming in and made the play. He actually had a receiver open over the middle of the field, Jacob Hillier, but just not enough time to get there. Look at number 4, the delayed blitz. He's allowing Kanziri to set up a block before rushing in. I don't think he grabbed him by the helmet. It looked like he grabbed him around the shoulder pad, which you're allowed to do. No face masking there. Good no call. Stanford's defense just having their way.
So with 2 minutes to go, as you take a look at what Christian McCaffrey has accomplished here today. All-purpose yards, 232. Look at the record. We were here when Wisconsin's Jared Abbrederis set the record for the Rose Bowl, 346 yards. Now, McCaffrey is going to be taking dead aim at that in the second half. It's going to be very interesting, Jesse, to see what he's able to do against
that. And how do you prevent him from touching the football? You can't. I mean, Stanford's already showed you they have a multitude of ways to get him involved, running, catching, receiving. The only thing we haven't seen him do yet is throw the ball, which he did throw a touchdown pass in the Pac-12 title game against USC. So, unfortunately for Iowa, they're going to get a lot more of number 5 here in the second half. And they've got to find a way to try and bottle him and slow him down. But it has been the McCaffrey show. We saw the very first play of the game, getting him isolated against base defense with the safety, and that's just not fair. There aren't very many running backs that can do that. And then getting him running outside in the Wildcat from running back as well, pulling linemen. What else do you want to watch?
Now we're going to get a look at Bryce Love, although Hogan saw something and he kept it himself.
The interesting thing is how Stanford also uses these guys as decoys. Christian McCaffrey and Bryce Love and some of these other weapons, defense is key on them so often that it actually allows them to kind of throw some curveballs, use them as decoys, and get other guys the ball in this offense.
McCaffrey slips that first tackle and picks up a first down. I have to tell you, folks, I don't know how he eluded Jesse, that first defender. I thought he had dead aim at him, and somehow he was able to get past Meyer.
It's happened a lot. That was Cole Fisher at linebacker that missed him that time, but we've seen Josie Jewell, we've seen a lot of different guys that are regularly very good tacklers miss open field. There's a linebacker, Fisher, nope.
Unbelievable on a 1st and 10.
You know, it's amazing because Iowa has been a good run defense all year long. They fit in the run game up front and their gaps, and they're excellent tacklers, especially in the secondary. Christian McCaffrey, he's making them all right now look like they're still playing in high school.
Second down and 5. McCaffrey and Love in the same set, and here comes Love motioning out. They fake to McCaffrey, going deep to the end zone, incomplete. Michael Rector was working deep that time. So coming up on the Buick halftime report, Reese Davis and the gang will be along. We'll also see performances by the Iowa band and then the Stanford band. They're always worth a peek, folks. And the second half, look up. Look out, coming your way. You like the tree as a mascot.
I'm a huge fan of the tree. What you and I were talking about earlier, you said it's a love-hate thing with the tree. Not everybody loves the tree.
No, I know some Stanford alums who say, no, don't be talking about that tree.
Fear the tree.
Third down and 5 now, and here's Hogan. Down that sideline, there's pushing and shoving. The receiver went out of bounds on it as it came up incomplete. That was Brant Sims, Isaiah Brant Sims, out of Wenatchee, Washington. These fellows at Stanford, they're from all over the country. And it's amazing that at left guard, that Joshua Garnett, he won the Outland Trophy. He's doing research on stem cell. Think about that for a minute. So the final 30 seconds ticking away for a half to remember, but only if you're a Stanford fan. Fair catch at the 12-yard line. Jess, I'm going to ask you about what's coming after us. Oklahoma State and Ole Miss. What's your feeling?
Yeah, to me, this game has a lot to do with motivation. And, Ole Miss, obviously, last year, what had happened to them up in Atlanta when they lost and got blown out by TCU. And Oklahoma State, who lost their final 2 games of the regular season, kind of limping into bowl season. But obviously, both of these programs put up video game-like numbers on offense. Couple key suspensions for Ole Miss in this game, especially on defense. It'll be interesting.
Nothing with good time, and it is dropped by Coble. Krieger Coble couldn't hang on.
Yeah, normally very, very sure-handed at tight end is Krieger Coble with great ball skills. And just things have not gone Iowa's way in the first half at all. And they've got to find a way here at halftime to regroup. They got to play smarter. They have to limit the penalties. They certainly can't afford to turn the football over. They got to be sharper on special teams. In every facet of the game, they have to come out a better version of themselves in the way they're playing right now.
Coverage. Now a defender comes free on Beathard, who's got to beware as he throws incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and 10 with 13 seconds to go, and pressure by backup Mike Tyler from Brooksville, Ohio.
And we talked about that depth from Stanford and how it's just been better in this game, and they look fresh. I mean, it's amazing to think, Brent, in this game, Stanford offensively has only played 25 snaps, and they have 35 points.
There's David Shaw, and I rather suspect that there are a few folks around the San Francisco 49ers might be saying, why not? I might as well tell you right now, I ask him that all the time, and he said, no way, I'm having too much fun as the Stanford coach. But I'm going to tell you, if I was an NFL team and I was looking for a coach, David Shaw would be my first stop. He'd have to tell me no.
Well,
He's done a great job. He was a receiver at Stanford. His daddy was a long-time terrific coach in the NFL, and David has done a masterful job in following Jim Harbaugh at Stanford.
And they've always had doubters, haven't they, since David Shaw took over? People didn't think that Stanford could do it after Harbaugh left. And then they said, well, you got Andrew Luck, but when you lose him, you won't be able to win any more. Then they lost Derek Mason as a defensive coordinator. And still, every year, Stanford just proves doubters wrong. They keep quiet. They go to work in the offseason. You don't hear much out of them. They just come back, and all they do is win Pac-12 championships.
3rd time in 4 years. Offensive line I know I talk about the Alabama defensive front, which to me is the best unit of any unit in its entirety in the country. But I got to tell you what might be next. The Stanford offensive line. It's fabulous. As time runs out. First time they've been held scoreless in the first half of this season. They'll go into that locker room and someone should spell pride on the blackboard. P-R-I-D-E. And for Stanford, someone should spell finish. F-I-N-I-S-H. Let's go to Maria with Coach Shaw.
Well, Coach, you held Iowa out of the end zone and you're up by 5 scores. What's the statement your team made in the first half?
You know, I tell our guys all the time, you know, we don't try to make statements. We just want to play football. You know, we got one more game with these seniors now, just down to a half. We just want to play our best football and take whatever the score comes. And the score is in our favor right now, but we talk about on the sidelines the whole game. Scoreboard doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is how we play.
We saw Christian McCaffrey score on 2 explosive plays. What has he given to you in the first half?
It's just what he is. I mean, he's having the best season any skill position player has ever had in the history of the game. And the stats and the numbers prove it. And this is another game. And God bless him. I know exactly how he's going to be in the sidelines. He's going to be angry in the sidelines that he didn't get another touchdown. So we're going to come out fired up, ready to go.
All right. Thanks for your time, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Maria. Indeed, he had another touchdown, and then there was a holding penalty, a very legitimate call, that brought that one back. But what a show from number 5 and the Stanford Cardinal. They have punched Iowa in the mouth. Will the Hawkeyes stand up and battle back in the second half? We'll find out. Welcome back to the Rose Bowl, presented by Northwestern Mutual. Christian may be headed for another record as number 5 spills out onto the floor. A 35-0 lead for the Stanford Cardinal. Jess, I was talking to fellows around the media during halftime, and everybody said the same thing. We didn't see this coming.
No, Stanford, that's about as good as I've seen a football team look in all 3 facets of the game in 30 minutes of football as I've seen in a very, very long time. Nothing went wrong. Offensively, Christian McCaffrey running, catching the football. They completed a bomb down the field to Michael Rector on a trick play where Kevin Hogan fumbled it on the ground, picked it up, designed. The defense is stopping the run. They're getting pressure on C.J. Beathard. They've been great in coverage. They've got a punt return score from number 5, with the exception of a holding penalty that called back a long touchdown by McCaffrey. Stanford has been lights out. David Shaw must love what he's seen. And Kirk Ferentz in Iowa, they've got to find a way to pick up their pace and pick up their execution in all 3 facets.
Here comes King with the 25 as we go down below to Maria Taylor.
I spoke with Kirk Ferentz, and he said the main focus for his team now is getting back to playing Hawkeye football and what is more characteristic of this team. I heard a couple of players coming out and saying, let's play Iowa football again. Coach says there's some small battles that they need to start winning up front, but unfortunately the team just didn't play well at all in the first half. They're trying to forget that right now and rally back in the second, guys.
Yeah, exactly. He has one half, 30 minutes to right the ship. Daniels, first down, quick slant, and dropped again. They start with another mistake. Vandenberg just didn't hang on.
That's just not Iowa football. Exactly what Maria just said. I mean, what is Iowa football? It's running the football on offense. It's establishing the line of scrimmage, not committing penalties, not turning the football over, stopping the run on defense, taking the football away. And that ball may have gotten somewhat deflected by Kevin Anderson. Still, it's right in the breadbasket of their best wide receiver. The execution level for Kirk Ferentz just hasn't been there from his team.
Beathard trying to find an open receiver. Dash to throw to the safety valve. Krieger Kobel.
You know, and the scramble rules for Iowa's wide receivers are going to have to get way, way better here in the second half as well. C.J. Beathard is running for his life behind this offensive line that is having issues protecting against Stanford's pass rush. So these wide receivers need to know now, from here on out, I'm going to run my route. If I don't get the ball right away, find open green grass. Find a place that I can give number 60 a place to throw the ball.
Now, Stanford's defense keeps changing the point of attack. They keep moving to different positions. They set up differently on a late signal from the, look at that. They get a man wide open for the sack. And that was Aziz Shiru again. And what a fine looking football player he is. But late defensive signals are coming as they recognize certain tendencies in the Hawkeye formation.
But it's just a bad job blocking up front. You got James Daniels at left guard, who's a true freshman, who just basically allows Shiru to run right by him. Again, poor execution, whether it's dropping passes, not being good blocking, just not the brand of football we're used to seeing from the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Christian McCaffrey is back to return the punt. He lets it bounce, and it's going to be down right about the 35-yard line. Well, let's take a look at Stanford's plan for success, Jesse, brought to you by Northwestern Mutual.
Well, the plan was very, very simple. They were going to get Christian McCaffrey involved in this game and get him the ball, and there was no bones about it. They did it very, very early. The first play of the game, a long, long touchdown catch out of the backfield, and we've seen it in every possible facet. And this is true. It's what David Shaw said at the end of the first half. We've seen this all year long. Nothing new for Stanford fans. It's nothing new for Pac-12 fans. For a lot of other people around the country that maybe haven't had a chance to watch this sensational true sophomore play, you're getting a full dose of him today.
And Iowa's getting another dose of it. What is so interesting to me, Jess, I haven't seen the first defender bring him down yet in this game.
He has phenomenal feet, Brent, and the ability in short, small spaces to make people miss. He can make you miss in a phone booth. It's just a skill he has. Quick feet, patience, setting it up, keeping his shoulder pad square, and his ability to change direction. Very, very strong lower body and hard to bring down. It's the perfect storm at running back.
Play action to him, fire the slant, and that's complete. And that was Austin Hooper. Now, there's a name we haven't mentioned much, but folks, those of you who are fans of the NFL, you keep an eye on number 18. We don't know if he's going to leave early or come back for Stanford, but like a lot of those fellows, Zach Ertz and some of the others who play Sunday football, Austin Hooper will make an NFL roster. He's 6'4", 248. Went to that great high school, De La Salle, up in Northern California, and they come back with the star. Here's the Magic Man, dancing free. He's got King, who wrestles and throws him down with emphasis. The Thorpe Award winner said, not on my watch this time.
You know, it starts up front with this phenomenal Stanford offensive line. In these zone schemes, you got to get movement. It's a zone scheme to the left, getting penetration, getting blocks. And then you got to be patient as a running back in that kind of scheme as well. Looking for the cutback lane. That's exactly what McCaffrey finds right here. And again, we talked about it. Tough to tackle. Greg Maben, 13, has a shot. This is normally a very good tackling secondary. Christian McCaffrey's making him look silly.
First down, throwing to the end zone, and incomplete. What a great block that time by right tackle Casey Tucker. Desmond King trying to do it on both sides of the field. I got to tell you something. Big Casey Tucker, 6'6", 300 from Gilbert, Arizona. He lowered the boom on his rushman.
Yeah, and this was almost an interception, Brent. They might want to take a look at this again. Desmond King does a great job kind of diving out and getting the football into his, oh, see, it comes out late at the very last second. But it looked like here he had possession, and it just came out late. I'll tell you, you've got to be careful when you're throwing to the side of the field that number 14 lines up on. His eye-hand coordination and his ball skills are crazy good.
Here is Wright. Powerful running back across the 15-yard line. So McCaffrey on that last run picked up 30 more yards. He's in pursuit of the Aberderis total yardage record here at a Rose Bowl game. You've got to say that if he stays in the game and they keep giving it to him, he's favored. And keep in mind, with bowl games now, his totals will add on to his regular season total yardage record. So he's going to start to pull away from the other fellas. Deflected. Big defensive play. That was Hess. Parker Hess.
Yeah, Parker Hesse coming off the edge. He's a freshman. He had to replace an outstanding player in Drew Ott, who got hurt earlier in the year with an ACL injury against Illinois. There's a freshman with a pick 6 against Nebraska late in the game on a play very similar to that.
Conrad Ukropina. Hogan upset with himself on that play. It's a 31-yard field goal attempt for the young man who grew up right here in Pasadena. His family with about 100 tickets, he told me, down on the field before the game. From the right hash, nails it. Conrad Ukropina, there's a penalty flag, I should point out. So we'll see. I just want to give you the Ukropina story because, Jess, it's a wonderful story, okay? He was a quarterback and a real good one coming out of the 8th grade. Let's get this.
Running into the kicker, defense, number 19. The penalty is declined. Try for point. Good.
So Ukropina was a real good quarterback. Had suffered a horrendous arm injury. And so with the team, all he could do was kick the football around. He had never kicked before. And here he is. He's the specialist for the Stanford Cardinal. In dramatic fashion, he beat Notre Dame this year. That was his family over there. Like I said, 100 tickets for the young man from Pasadena, California.
It's the perfect time to get the gift you've waited for all year. The redesigned Honda Accord, complete with a new look, improved fuel efficiency, and Pandora compatibility standard. Happy Honda Days end soon. Hurry in and you could get a great deal on the Accord, the most durable, longest-lasting car in its class. Now at your Honda dealer.
According to one study, if all the companies traced back to Stanford graduates formed their own nation, you'd be one of the largest economies in the world.
Just being here in the presence of such energetic, stimulated brilliance makes us all want to be better.
As you graduate to begin anew, I wish that for you. Stay hungry, stay foolish.
How will you put your education to use? What will your gifts to the world be?
Just as we were leading, Ukropina, who had kicked that field goal successfully, was changing jerseys, putting on 94. Why was he doing that?
Well, because he normally wears number 34, but they have a linebacker, Peter Kalambai, that's on the kickoff team. And by rule, you can't have two guys on the field at the same time wearing the same jersey number. It's the only time all year long that we've seen it's a kicker changing his jersey number.
I think I said 94. That's Fanaka's other number. They got 3 or 4 guys who changed these jerseys. Clearly, number 92. So here we go. Here comes King again. He's been a busy return man. Out to the 26-yard line. Well, Jess, the stage has been set, and last night we watched, I thought the key play for Clemson was the fake punt, kept them undefeated. They eliminated Oklahoma. Alabama ran all over Michigan State. What's your early feeling?
Well, I'll say this. Alabama was both these teams extremely impressive. I'm surprised that Alabama is as favored as they are at this point in the game. Clemson, as you mentioned, have gotten no respect. But the one thing they do have, Deshaun Watson, and that dual threat quarterback, which has been critical for the teams that have beaten the Crimson Tide in recent years.
Daniels gets the first carry. But, of course, you go to this year's win, and some of you folks may not realize this, when Ole Miss beat Alabama, Crimson Tide did 2 things. First of all, they turned it over 5 times. But secondly, why not start Jacob Coker in every game? What were they thinking?
Well, that's the story to me yesterday of that game. They won convincingly, and surprise, surprise, it wasn't the Heisman Trophy winner Derrick Henry. It was Jake Coker having a career night, going 25 of 30 throwing the football against an excellent defense. Who saw that coming?
Kanziri, the running back for the Hawkeyes. He's eaten up. Such an impressive performance by the defense. Iowa has not been able to solve these moving fronts all day long. So let's talk a little bit about Lance Anderson. Lance Anderson's the defensive coordinator. And folks, He started with Jim Harbaugh down at San Diego before Harbaugh ever became the head coach at Stanford. And that's when folks realized that Coach Harbaugh could do the job when he came up to Stanford. And he brought Lance with him. And now Lance has become the defensive coordinator. What a job he's doing here today. 3rd down and 7. They come free again on him. And it'll be dropped.
And again, Stanford able to get home, stunting players up front. Iowa just cannot handle it in their pass protection. Joey Alfieri, 32 out here. Going to come around the outside, and Iowa's offensive line gets completely lost. They've got to pass that off. James Daniels at his left guard position can't slide out to pick him up because he's running into his left tackle. Iowa just has not been able to make the adjustments, pass protection, to give C.J. Beathard time in the pocket.
McCaffrey standing back on the Stanford 28-yard line. Waving everybody away, puts his hands down low as he points forward. So it will be the Cardinal football when you come back, enjoying a big lead in the 102nd Rose Bowl game.
Hit the road.
Guys!
Oh, hey, Terry. Look, I really wish we could take you to the national championship game with us, but
We already got a funny guy.
There's no way he's funnier than me.
have you heard some of the stuff comes out of his mouth?
Really?
Don't hate me because you're the poor man's me.
Ooh, good one, Chuck.
Terry.
I really don't get to go.
And you're not that funny.
Funnier than you. Hey. Well, if I could think of something, I'd say it.
The 2016 Rose Bowl game, brought to you by the Capital One Quicksilver Card. Earn unlimited 1.5% cash back every purchase every day. Taco Bell's Crunchwrap Sliders, 4 full-size flavors, just $1 each. Honda and Allstate, proud supporters of college football. Are you in good hands?
And the sun setting over the San Gabriels out of the Pacific Ocean. One of the grand scenes, probably one of those scenes that attracts so many of us to the Rose Bowl game through the years. Lights will be turned on when we get midway, at least into that 4th quarter. 9.5 minutes, 1st down and 10. McCaffrey back on the field. They both spot the blitzer. Now Maven backs off. Looks like he wants to come, but he was bluffing. Here comes McCaffrey. Working on that total yardage record for a Rose Bowl game. Jared Abbrederis, outstanding receiver return man for the Wisconsin Badgers, holds it. And if you put the entire Hawkeye team up against Christian McCaffrey.
Wow. Yeah, and that says it all. Really, in all 3 facets, with the exception of the return yards, and he hasn't had many. Otherwise, he'd be leading them in that department also. If they've not scored five touchdowns already, Iowa wouldn't have those return yards.
Dad, one of his brothers, watching play action to him now, and dropped off underneath to Hooper. That's Hooper's 2nd catch of the game, close to the 1st down marker, but it'll bring up 3rd down here for Stanford.
We've seen a lot of Kevin Hogan over the years, haven't we? We talked about this being his 46th game, and the thing that really just impresses me is his decision making. All throughout the course of the game, whether it's audibling at the line of scrimmage, changing the pass protections, checking the football down when things aren't open downfield, knowing where the answers are against the blitz. He's just so good, understands the system so well, and that's why the last 12 games, he's been the most efficient quarterback in college football. He's having another efficient night here tonight.
False start. This will make it a little more difficult. Playing his final game as a Cardinal is Kevin Hogan.
False start. Offense, number 18. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
And that was Hooper who moved on that.
Yeah, it's a situation, again, Stanford hasn't been in a lot, and they haven't obviously had to throw the football very often with a commanding lead. And this is where, from Iowa, you'd like to see someone's got to win up front in pass rush right here in this critical down and distance. I would say their defensive line is a better run-stopping D-line normally than they are pass rushing, but someone's got to win and get pressure on Hogan.
Toss play, and here comes McCaffrey looking for daylight. Stepped out right at the marker. Where are they going to spot it? Looks like a little bit short there with the head linesman.
Unbelievable speed, and I don't know how Stanford was able to outflank Iowa from the formation in the get-go. Josie Jewell, their middle linebacker, and Ben Neiman outside. They were completely lined up much, much wider to the side of the field, and a quick pitch and an odd play call in this sort of situation. But look to the right side of the screen. There's a slip inside. You got a linebacker, it was Bo Bauer, excuse me, number 41, just not able to seal the edge.
They'll measure. Big 12 officiating crew here in Pasadena today. They'll come all the way across. You know, we've talked about the offensive line, Jess. It was when David Shaw told us that in 5 years, only one offensive lineman has missed one game. I was stunned by that statistic.
It's unheard of. Absolutely, and especially in the style of football that these guys play. They've been blessed to have that kind of health and consistency and continuity year in and year out. But to me, Brent, they're the difference in what makes this offense so special. They've got 4 seniors up front who I think are all going to go play in the National Football League. A lot of those guys part of what David Shaw calls the best offensive line recruiting class they've ever had in that 2012 class. That included Andrus Peat, who of course last year was a first-round pick for the New Orleans Saints. These guys are physical. They move the line of scrimmage in the run game. They're great in pass protection. And since the second half of their game early this year against UCF, they've been the difference. We talk about Christian McCaffrey and Kevin Hogan, and we should, but it starts and ends with these guys up front.
They're going to punt it away. I think if the game was closer, I think David Shaw would go for it here.
Agreed.
It's 38-0. Oh, bad snap. First big mistake. Iowa football to 25.
And that is just the break that Iowa needed. They just need something to go their way, something to light a fire under their team and under their sideline to get their heads right. Whether it's a turnover or a play on special teams, and it wasn't anything they did well. This was a mistake by Stanford. It's a high snap, and one that Alex Robinson just couldn't handle. He does the smart thing. Instead of trying to scoop it up, turn around, and kick it, I think he had Josie Jewell, number 43, was right behind him.
So now it is first down and 10. Daniels is the Hawkeye running back. Off play action. Can't find an open receiver. Sacked at the 35 by Solomon Thomas. Defensive tackle out of Coppell, Texas.
And again, it's just bad blocking inside. I think it was number 79, Sean Welsh, is engaged with him early and just completely lets him go. Watch number 90 is going to be kind of coming in here right over the right guard. Just no one stays with him. And C.J. Beathard has no chance. The different pictures that Stanford in this 3-4 look has given this offensive line, they've been completely lost.
And second and 18. Goes to the middle to his tight end, Krieger Coble, and gets some of it back.
It's just one of the few times we've seen C.J. Beathard have an opportunity to throw the ball on time without anybody from Stanford around him. And this is now desperation time. You can forget a lot about the running game if you're the Iowa Hawkeyes. It's not what you're built to do. But you're now going to have to rely on C.J. Beathard and wide receivers and tight ends. Someone's just going to have to make a play. In tight coverage, someone's going to have to fight for the football and make something positive happen.
Show blitz coming up the middle. Beathard. And that'll bring up a fourth down. Hillier was the target on that play.
But another bad play because the quarterback drops the shotgun snap and the timing gets affected. His execution, as Kirk Ferentz looks on, just hasn't been right in any aspect, in any facet. Now the main question is, I don't care who you have outside in a 4th and long situation, can you give C.J. Beathard time? Look at Stanford again, crowding the line of scrimmage. They've got 6 guys up on the line, and Iowa doesn't know which one of these dudes is coming. Some are going to drop out, they might all come.
So on 4th down, Beathard has to backpedal, fires, first down. So Kanziri makes the grab. Then the Hawkeyes in the red zone.
These two had a phenomenal effort together on a huge fourth down earlier in the half. C.J. Beathard spins out, buying time with linebacker Kevin Palma bearing down on him. What about Jordan Canzeri? He's not playing 100% with the right ankle injury. Finds his way out of the backfield. Tough catch for another huge fourth down conversion. Second time those two guys have hooked up on fourth.
Daniels back in as the running back. Left side. Battles, but only for a yard before the Cardinal ganged up on him.
You know, a guy that you mentioned earlier, Brent, and a guy whose name we haven't called a lot, is tight end number 46, George Kittle, who's a guy that they like to throw to down in this area of the field, 46. He's actually coming off the field right now. It's like he was kind of favoring that left arm a little bit. He may have gotten banged up, left shoulder on that last play. He's been a huge weapon for them in the red zone all year with 6 touchdown catches. He's a really good blocker, but this is kind of the area of the field they like to throw to him in. You see he's really smart on the sideline. Someone else now has got to step up.
Right tackle moved, but also the rush man was coming at him.
Offense, number 79, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Well, Sean Welsh moved around on that offensive line. It has been in flux because of injuries and how they have shown blocking. We've seen some of these fellas jump around a couple of different positions here on that offensive line this afternoon. Second down to 15. Beathard got protection that time, and it's through the hands of Krieger Kobel.
Yeah, the ball got deflected by Peter Kalambayi at the line of scrimmage, who again, that was the second time he's gotten his hands on a football thrown by C.J. Beathard. There's just so much versatility that Stanford gets from their linebackers. Peter Kalambayi, Kevin Anderson, just watch 34, doing another great job. It just kind of glanced off his shoulder pad. I think that's why it ended up being thrown behind Krieger Kobel. You talk about the versatility of these linebackers. They can put their hand in the ground, stop the run, they can rush the passer, and they're making plays. Kalambayi having a big day.
Third down and 15 for the Hawkeyes. Beathard won't get free. Protection broke down. No one was free. Brennan Scarlett among the defenders in there for Stanford.
And it was Mike Tyler, number 33, that completely collapsed the left side of the pocket. He walked Cole Croston, the left tackle, right back into C.J. Beathard. Watt coming off this side right here. Speed to power. A nice transition. That collapsed the pocket, and then it was just a feast in the backfield for Stanford.
Well, Marshall Kane, one of the earlier heroes for Iowa, is on to attempt a field goal to put them on the board. Looks good. 39-yarder. Iowa will not be shut out. But 3:36 remaining in the third quarter. And Stanford enjoying a 35-point lead.
AT&T presents The Strongest of the Strong.
What are you guys doing to get pumped for the game?
Streaming Rudy.
That's a great movie. I like that movie. Yeah, I love the strong movie.
Yes,
Let's see what we're looking at.
Hey, guys.
That's not Rudy. That's actor Sean Astin.
Yeah. Rudy.
You can call me Sean, guys. It's been 22 years.
Come on, Rudy. Come relax.
Please call me Sean.
Rudy! Rudy! Rudy!
Get stronger with AT&T, the network with the nation's strongest 4G LTE signal.
To achieve financial security, there are two halves to consider: protect and grow. Instead of focusing on insurance or investments alone, we bring them together into one whole picture. At Northwestern Mutual, we guide you along your path by combining personalized investments and world-class insurance. That's one of the reasons 96% of our clients stay with us year after year. At Northwestern Mutual, we help you live life differently.
Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
Our views of the San Gabriels provided by Goodyear. Whether you drive 100 yards or 100 miles, choose Goodyear tires for superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. Happy New Year, everybody, as we welcome you back to the Rose Bowl, presented by Northwestern Mutual. And indeed, it has been a very happy day for the Stanford Cardinal. They lead Iowa 38-3. 3.5 minutes remaining here in quarter number 3. After the Iowa field goal, Stanford will get the ball back. And here comes McCaffrey. Out to the 28-yard line, approaching that record. We'll come back. We'll follow number 5. We'll see if Iowa can come up with a stop and put more on the board. It has been the Christian McCaffrey show, Jess.
He's the most versatile player in the country. All of his skill sets on display. First play of the game out of the backfield, beating the safety Lomax for a long touchdown catch. They put him in the Wildcat and try to get pulling linemen and fullbacks out in front of him. He's done a lot of his damage in the run game outside of the tackles and, of course, in the return game. To have success, normally, the returner's got to make one guy miss and find his blocks. Well, on this play, Christian McCaffrey made 4 guys miss by himself before he found his convoy and was off to the races. You know, you think back to this year at the start of the season, there weren't a lot of people talking about this guy with respect to Heisman hype. That changed very quickly. No doubt next year he'll be an early season front runner.
Here he comes. Breaks that first tackle again, approaches the first down marker. He may have it with that spot. What's fascinating is that the bench is well aware, and they do have the first down. The bench is well aware that he is approaching the total yardage record here at a Rose Bowl game. Aberderis, the Wisconsin receiver and return man, has it, and there you are as he closes in right now, and he is almost a certainty to get that record. The only thing that would have prevented him is if they take him out of the game and rest him, but the bench, we are told, is aware. Over 18 yards a touch. And you know what interests me, Jess? Honestly, he reminds me a little bit of Barry Sanders, the man whose record he broke. Barry Sanders was virtually untouchable when he would get just up by the offensive line. He would jump one way, jump the other way, dart and dash, and it's kind of eerie for me to watch this performance by Christian.
Yeah, well, there aren't a lot of running backs, I think, around the country that could keep number 26 right there on the sidelines very, very often, because he's got a special skill set himself. But number 5, you hear coaches talk about short area quickness, and he's got it.
Hogan keeps it, and it's a walk-away first down across it. And, of course, I was talking about that Barry Sanders' father. I want you to know that, okay?
Yeah, as we were showing a picture of his son. That's right. But, you know, and I think it's important, too, Brent, that we give this coaching staff a ton of credit for finding creative ways to get Christian McCaffrey involved. And we've seen a lot of the ways they do it in this game tonight. But there's a lot of times, I think there's a lot of places that when you've got a guy that's pretty versatile, you know, you normally keep him in the backfield. You might let him kind of go out in motion and throw him a 5-yard stop route time and time again. This staff, Mike Bloomgren, David Shaw, the rest of their offensive coaches, all off season, I think found a lot of creative ways, did a great job game planning. and finding ways to win games, and obviously it's been getting 5 touches.
Stanford calls their first timeout of the half. 30 seconds.
So, Maria, the McCaffrey family has to be very happy with what they're seeing here today.
You're right, Brent. And I spoke with Father Ed and Mom Lisa, and they both told me that before every single game, they are very, very nervous, even though they've seen him go out and put on some very great performances. We spoke at the half, and they said it's been an exciting half, but they're still going to have nerves until it comes to an end, and said that they also enjoyed the entire Heisman journey that they went on with their son, and said that every single moment he felt as though he was on top of the world during that time, guys.
Yeah, it's special for the family. If you weren't with us, Lisa, of course, was a terrific soccer player at Stanford. And her daddy, Dave Syme, was one of the greatest sprinters in the history of this country. And Ed was just an outstanding receiver at Stanford, and then in the National Football League, played alongside John Elway, another Stanford guy, and 2 Super Bowl winners. And they bring Bryce Love, the freshman, around, and he gets thrown back by Nelson.
Well, you think about next year. There's some GMs in the National Football League, and there's some head coaches that are going to have a very interesting decision, especially on the teams that have to pick early in the draft. Between that guy right there, Christian McCaffrey, who will be eligible to go to the NFL.
You mean a year from next April?
That's what. Yeah, that's Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette, Deshaun Watson at Clemson, Myles Garrett at Texas A&M. You're right. After the 2016 college football season, there are some really, really intriguing prospects at the top of that draft, and I think number 5 is going to be one of those guys.
Drops it off in a screen pass to McCaffrey. And running him down. I haven't mentioned Josie Jewell's name very often. There's a penalty flag.
Holding offense, number 51. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
The Outland Trophy winner, Joshua Garnett. Let me run through those names again. He's the left guard. Kyle Murphy. He's right alongside him. Let me give you the hometowns. San Clemente, California is Murphy. Puyallup, Washington is Garnett. The centers from Franklin, Tennessee, Graham Schuler. Glen Ellen, Illinois is the right guard, Johnny Caspers. And over to right tackle, Casey Tucker. He's from Gilbert, Arizona. So there you have 5 different states where they have recruited. The youngsters who have come and believe me, when you go to Stanford, you are a student athlete. Here comes Hogan firing. And that should have been intercepted, I think. Wasn't it, Jesse? Bauer, didn't he have a good shot at that?
Yeah, I think he did. It was hard to tell whether or not Jaleel Johnson, a defensive tackle, got his hand on this and deflected it. But the ball was way off the mark. I think he was trying to find Michael Rector underneath. You see, there's Johnson right there, 67. Just watch him. Does he get a hand on it? It's hard to tell if he actually deflected. The nose of the ball kind of tips down. I don't think Bo Bauer was expecting that. That would have been a tough catch regardless. There's so many good players on this Iowa defense. Guys like Desmond King and Jaleel Johnson, we haven't talked a lot about in this game.
3rd down and 22. Stanford forced a punt. As we come to the end of the 3rd quarter. Ordinarily, I would say, stay tuned. The money quarter is coming up. Not today, folks. Stay tuned and see if Christian McCaffrey can set the Rose Bowl record for total yards in a single game. We'll be right back. The nerds indeed. Stanford all over Iowa as you look down at one end of the Rose Bowl. That's the end where they take the team photos the day before the game. They put a grandstand out there for them all to stand on that sign, and Stanford punts it away here. Out of bounds or penalty flags on the play.
I wonder whether or not there was a guy in motion for Stanford, and I was wonder whether or not he took off down the field a little early.
So they'll sort this out. Players seem to be walking back toward the line of scrimmage, aren't they?
He's using even potentially a legal formation.
illegal motion.
You got it,
kicking
Jess.
team, number 6. 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the kick. Correction. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 4th down.
Yeah, exactly. And after that, they're going to repeat it there. I was mentioning the team photos, and there they are. Memories that will last a lifetime for both Iowa and Stanford. Kids come and put the uniform. First time that they're on the field the week before. I should say about this field, that's a story too. This is the first time that the Rose Bowl surface has played on bluegrass. It has been rye throughout these many years, but the groundskeeper said, I think we can make bluegrass work here. And I have to tell you, Jess, you were down there with me. That's a gorgeous surface.
It's a putting green.
It is just amazing. There was another flag, so we will check this down below. They take such pride in having just perfect conditions for this game.
Offense. All 11 players were not set before the snap. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Stanford's losing interest.
Well, I tell you, it's funny. Not a lot has gone wrong for them. They've had a couple penalties that have cost them. They had the snap over their punter's head. The last time out, they punted it in the 3rd quarter. But Iowa's played tougher. They've hung tough. They held them to only 3 points in the 3rd quarter. There's no quit in the Hawkeyes.
It's fielded at the 30 by King. King with daylight. Breaks. Oh, he's tripped up at the 35-yard line. That would have been a touchdown, but Martinez, right there, number 4, tripped him up.
Well, Christian McCaffrey's not the only versatile athlete playing in this game. Desmond King, one of the best cover corners in college football. We mentioned it, the Jim Thorpe Award winner. Also very dangerous in the return game, and you don't have to give him a lot of space to make a play. Talk about making a dude miss, getting north-south, puts his foot in the ground, and thankfully, the guy that leads the Pac-12 conference in tackles per game's there for Stanford to make that stop. Otherwise, that's 6.
C.J. Beathard hands it off to his running back, Wadley. I have to tell you, C.J. Beathard has an uncle by the name of Pete as we come into the 4th quarter. Pete Beathard, quarterback USC. In one of the most dramatic Rose Bowl games that I ever watched on television. NBC was broadcasting it in color. It was early on, early 60s. Ron Vanderkellen of Wisconsin. And that was CJ's uncle, Pete. He was the winner that day, but Vanderkellen and the Badgers gave him all they could ask for in that game. 2nd down and 9. Beathard's in trouble. Down he goes. So in 1963, this was the game that I referred to. This is Pete Beathard. He was the co-MVP. Tossing for the touchdown pass. Rolling to the left under Badger pressure. And firing for another one. But Ron Vanderkellen kept firing away at him. And I mean, USC was forced all the way to the final 2 minutes. It was interesting. CJ has never looked at a tape of that game, and I said, CJ, you got to go get a tape of it. You'll be amazed at what Pete did. His grandfather is Bobby Beathard. Oh, he wasn't ready for the snap of his timeout.
Yeah, Kirk Ferentz went sprinting down the sideline to find a referee to make sure that timeout got called. And
CJ, I mentioned Bobby Beathard, his grandfather, lives down in the Knoxville area. I'm sure he's watching this today. He's feeling for his grandson. And it's been a tough, long afternoon for Beathard and the entire Iowa team. We welcome you back to the Rose Bowl, presented by Northwestern Mutual. All Stanford against the Big Ten representative here. But let's check out earlier scores, and we will see that Ohio State beating up on Notre Dame, and Michigan taking care of Florida. They carried the banner today for the Big Ten, as Tennessee was a big winner over Northwestern. Jake Rudock transferred from Iowa to Michigan. He was 20 of 31, 278 yards and 3 touchdowns. He rushed 4 times for 29 yards. And right after this play, I want to tell you a story about Rudock and Coach Kirk Ferentz. 13-19 to go. Firing downfield, caught Touchdown, Iowa, Matt Vanderburg.
The first and only explosive play in the passing game for Iowa tonight comes in the fourth quarter. C.J. Beathard pre-snap found the matchup he wanted. His leading receiver, Matt Vanderburg, in the slot, working against safety Cody Whitfield. Great route, excellent throw, and Kirk Ferentz's Iowa Hawkeyes, true to form, they continue to battle. They just don't quit.
Oh, he hit the upright and it ricocheted to the right. No good. Kane misses the extra point. Matt Vanderburg. He's a young man from Brandon, South Dakota. And watch as he comes down the sideline with that burst. And it's the first touchdown of the game for the Hawkeyes. Stanford 38, Iowa 9 after the missed extra point.
The 2016 Rose Bowl game is presented by Northwestern Mutual. We help you live life differently. And in part by Cadillac and AT&T, mobilizing your world.
Christian McCaffrey closing in on a couple of Rose Bowl game records. If he gets a chance to return this kick, he'll take down the all-purpose yards. Needs 11 now to tie, 12 to win it. So here he is waiting to see if he's going to get a chance on his kickoff. On the ground, they want to keep it away from him. And it will be the up back right. Now the other record that McCaffrey's closing in on, and he is just 2 receiving yards away from being the first man in Rose Bowl history to rush for better than 100 yards. He has 146. And also 100 yards receiving. And he sits at 98 right now. The Stanford sideline, we are told, well aware of the situation regarding Christian.
I guarantee Christian McCaffrey is also. And we talked to head coach David Shaw 2 days ago, and he told us, you know, this guy doesn't like coming out of games. There's a lot of times in our game plan we've got to get other guy touches. We need to get him a break. Every time he's on the sidelines, he's always about 2 doors down from David Shaw, just staring at him, waiting to get back in the game.
So he goes out as a receiver. Hogan, though, looks and fires the other way. Ball is out to the 36-yard line with Austin Hooper, his third catch of the game, the big fella.
You know, this offense is just so explosive all year long, finding big plays. And it's not just Christian McCaffrey. We mentioned earlier the other 3 running backs that can hit the home run. They've got guys like Hooper, a tight end. They've got other receivers that can run by you. The last 13 games in a row now, Stanford scored over 30 points. It's the longest streak in the FBS. More speed at the skill positions than David Shaw's ever had at Stanford.
Here's McCaffrey. That's the total yardage record right there. 1 record down. Total yardage record for the Rose Bowl just fell on that run.
So the runner-up for the Heisman Trophy had the Jim Thorpe Award winner Desmond King on an island one-on-one. Desmond King wanted no part of it. Didn't even break down, completely whiffed. I am so impressed, because it appears to me like Christian McCaffrey's broken the will of a lot of players on Iowa's defense. That's something that number 5 can do every week. He's been doing it a lot this year. There's some pretty standout players in this Iowa D that haven't been able to even touch number 5.
There's the throw. There's the second record. Ryder was at a lateral. That'll be rule of running. It went backwards. I was all ready to crown him. And Jamaica Ty over said, "Oh, Brent, that's a lateral."
I think McCaffrey knows it also. He kind of stood up and thought, that doesn't count. You got to leave me in the game now. You got to throw me a screen, or you got to throw me another one of those routes he gave me on the first play of the
exactly.
game. Give me an option route or something. It's funny how players are very, very aware of stats in game. You know, but with jumbotrons the way they are now, and assistant coaches and quality control assistants, they keep you abreast of the situation.
Not much doing that time. That hole was really jammed up on number 5. You know, there was an Iowa alum. Well, I think about really want to send best wishes to. Jesse, you were not around when Wayne Duke was the commissioner of the Big Ten. He's an Iowa graduate. He's a long-time dear friend. I know he's watching at home. I know he's in agony over his alma mater, what they're doing. But Wayne, all of us at ESPN send you best wishes for a healthy 2016, my friend. One of the grand architects of all that we love about college athletics. They're down at 8 now. He's looking for McCaffrey. And that was Trenton Irwin.
He's, I think, a future star in this Stanford offense. Only a freshman, but he had a remarkable high school career. He scored 61 touchdowns. And David Shaw told me earlier in the year he thinks this guy has an opportunity to be big time in years to come. A nice job you see of working back to the quarterback in a small window.
So now going into that wildcat formation, it looks like McCaffrey. Remember, he threw a touchdown pass, as Jesse referred to, against USC in the Pac-12 championship game. This time he's just going to run it. And again, that first tackler had so much difficulty in bringing him down, but Jewell was there. And a reminder that coming up after us, Oklahoma State against Ole Miss. And that, of course, is the All-State Sugar Bowl from the Superdome in New Orleans. And that figures to be a very interesting game. Chad Kelly, the quarterback of Ole Miss, he had the victory over Alabama earlier in the year. It's like McCaffrey went off the sideline and the handoff is to Barry Sanders. Barry's such a nice young man. Jesse, I know you want to know if he's same size as his age, so
you had a good look at him. You had a good look at him on the field before the game.
You know, you're probably about the same height, but you're not quite as broad as I had his daddy as a return man, okay, at Oklahoma State when Thurman Thomas kept him on the bench as a running back.
See,
think about those two guys as your running backs.
Well, yeah, but you know what? I mean, yeah, right. I mean, it's remarkable, and there's a lot of guys that one day are going to say Christian McCaffrey kept Barry Sanders Jr. on the bench.
True. And Christian is off to the left again. 2 yards shy of that other record. And there's the draw to right, and right bust for a first and goal. What he does so well. He scored 13 touchdowns running. Caught passes for 2 more touchdowns on the season for Stanford. So he's a terrific weapon down here deep in the red zone.
And how about Stanford's offensive line? We talked about the running plays being body blows early in the game, and 2 and 3 and 4 yard gains become big gains late. It's something that Iowa's defense has not done all year. For a defense that doesn't substitute a lot, they don't wear down. They were only averaging giving up 23 rushing yards a game in the fourth quarter all season, which was remarkable. This Stanford offensive line has been able to impose their will.
The Wildcat, and there's the penalty flag.
False start. Offense, number 20. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
That's Bryce Love, the running back. Yeah, be on the lookout for the Taco Bell student section. Taco Bell and College Football Playoff has provided 1,000 student tickets free of charge for the national championship game coming up a week from Monday. Living large. You know what they loved about the best part of their day? They got booed by the Iowa fans. They live for that. The Stanford band, they would not consider a successful Rose Bowl unless the visiting or other team boos them at halftime. And the Iowa fans, they certainly took care of that. Hogan keeping it is down.
I keep wondering if they're trying to get number 5, Christian McCaffrey, a catch. See if he can break that record.
Well, they tried, but they made it a lateral.
I know. Well, and I'm wondering, now McCaffrey's coming off again. But, you know, these last couple plays, they've kind of gotten him out in routes. And that last play, Kevin Hogan didn't see anything downfield, so he just took off and ran it.
Should just give him a little screen on the outside, you know?
There's a lot of ways to you can just throw him a now pass. Just line him up outside. Just throw him one of those smoke passes we see all the time. It's going to make somebody miss.
Quarterback keep. And he's to the 9-yard line. His last game as a Stanford quarterback. Johnson with the stop for the Hawkeyes.
You know, and I think there's something to be said for quarterbacks that have experience. But think of all the big game experience Kevin Hogan has. 3 Pac-12 title games. This is his 3rd Rose Bowl. He's been through all the different wars against USC and Oregon and Notre Dame. I think that's something that really bodes well for him at the next level. A team somewhere in the NFL knows this guy's been on the big stage. In games like this, the lights never get too bright. Stage is never too big. He can handle the pressure.
McCaffrey was a blocker up in the air. Intercepted. Deflected pass. Intercepted by the Hawkeyes. They had a foot down in the end zone, and that was Josie Jewell, who is known as the Outlaw. Why not? If you're Josie, you're the Outlaw.
Miles Taylor at safety number 19 is the one that really makes this play, though. He's matched up against a much bigger Hooper at tight end. Desmond King comes in late, knocks it up in the air before Josie Jewell can clean it up, and this is something they did. 18 picks on the year, led the Big Ten. Just came too late in this one tonight.
So we've got a timeout. Hawkeye football when you come back.
Welcome.
How you doing?
Thanks for coming. Today you're going to choose a mobile office to drive to a remote work site. You can choose this Chevy Silverado that offers built-in 4G LTE Wi-Fi, or you can choose this Ford F-150 that doesn't offer Wi-Fi. But to make up for it, we added a trailer, a satellite antenna, a Wi-Fi modem, and the Loris.
Hey, fellas.
Technology's a little behind in here.
I have a great fax machine.
Think 1970 called.
Now, the Silverado offers built-in 4G LTE Wi-Fi.
Pretty nice.
Awesome. And it can connect up to 7 devices.
That's cool. It's nicer than my first apartment.
So which mobile office would you choose?
Well, nothing against the Loris, but I'd pick the Chevy. Silverado.
You guys want to take a ride? Yeah. All right, let's all get in.
Hey, where you going?
We're coming back for you, Dolores.
So the Silverado offers its own hotspot with a connection that's stronger than your smartphone.
That's incredible. Instead of having to haul around a trailer, it leaves Ford in the dust. Dolores thinks Silverado. She does.
West Coast ball, 100 years of grit and glory. Wildcats eye back-to-back reign. Love to hate, now the chosen one for Arizona State. Don't try running from the Utes. No doubt, can't count the Buffs out. Upset City, UCLA, a Trojan block party every day. Cal, best incoming class. Cardinal rule, play with heart. Look good, play better. Oregon, yellow. Unless Beaver Nation steals the show. Bow down to UW. Sioux Crews turned up. On the court, 5 become 1. And it's here, the West is won.
Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Whether you drive 100 yards or 100 miles, choose Goodyear tires for superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. Well, I mentioned a short time ago that I wanted to tell a story about Jake Rudock and head coach Kirk Ferentz. Rudock, of course, leading Michigan to that win over Florida. It is unusual for a youngster to transfer within the conference. But Coach Ferentz said, we're not stopping him. He can go wherever he wants. He was such a good performer, loyal when he was here. And the handoff by Beathard goes to Wadley. And I must say, I know things aren't going well for Coach Ferentz today, but he has always demonstrated class to me.
Yeah, no, he sure has. And I just love the way he does things. And it's very blue collar. There's no magic formula. The things he preaches to win games, they stand true, stand the test of time.
Beathard trying to hold him off, and there's a penalty flag as he goes down. It has been a very, very tough afternoon for Beathard. He has felt the brunt of this Stanford defense all game long.
He's been sacked 7 times, Brent. 7 times. And there's been a lot of others, like plays like that, where he just barely was able to get out early. I was thinking on that play live, maybe that might have been a face mask call. I wasn't sure if the defensive lineman had got a hand in under his helmet, or you see he's rolling his neck around.
Grasping the helmet opening. Defense number 50. That's a 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
One of their backup linebackers. Some of the backups now, Jesse, are starting to get time here for the Cardinal.
Yeah, I don't know if they were expecting to get this much time, especially here in the fourth quarter. But, you know, I want to go back to Iowa, and I really think Iowa Hawkeye fans have potentially another special season coming again next year. And you look at the way the schedule sets up. We're going to get Iowa State, or this is what happened, this year. And it was remarkable. You know, going 12-0 in the regular season, but of course people doubted them because they didn't play Ohio State, they didn't play Michigan State, Michigan, or Penn State, but I think still proved a lot in that Big Ten title game.
All right, after this tackle, Jesse, here's next year's for you.
Yeah, you know, it's going to set up, I think, pretty well for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And Iowa State, North Dakota State, you got to watch out for them of the FCS. They're coming into town early in the year. They do have 2 crossover opponents this year against Penn State and Michigan, but very, very key. They get Northwestern, Wisconsin, and Nebraska at home. And when you consider C.J. Beathard's back, they're going to have 3 good running backs back, 3 good linemen, their leading receiver. They may only lose 3 or 4 starters on defense. I think Iowa can repeat as Big Ten West champs next season.
Mitchell flares out. They hit number 32. First down, Hawkeyes. Reed with the stop, another one of the Stanford backups.
A big key for Iowa, obviously, next year, too, is going to be just keeping C.J. Beathard healthy, something he hasn't been all season. Since that hip injury against Pitt really early, this guy's shown tremendous toughness.
Dropping it off to the running back again. Well, after tonight's Sugar Bowl, stick around for SportsCenter at night with Jay Harris and Nicole Briscoe. They'll have highlights from all 5 bowl games, the Winter Classic, the NBA, and college hoops. That'll be coming up after the Sugar Bowl. Second down now. Here's Mitchell. This will be 3rd down and short with the clock running down. Spot.
We were talking earlier, Brent, about Kirk Ferentz and the job he did for Iowa. What about David Shaw and Stanford guiding this team through just a tumultuous schedule? It really looks to me like Stanford is physically and emotionally recharged in this game. They had 13 games, no true bye week.
Outside wide open is Wadley. Touchdown Iowa. Guess who's winning the second half? The Hawkeyes. That's a 31-yard touchdown play, Jess.
They keep battling, and there was a total coverage bust on the short side of the field for Stanford. I don't know if it was their corner, Aleem Murphy, number 23, but there were multiple Stanford defenders running with a wide receiver, and nobody stayed out wide to cover the back out of the backfield.
Hawkeyes with 15, make it 16 second half points to 3 for Stanford. The problem, of course, for Iowa is that the Cardinal put up 35 in the first half.
I didn't know pink and silver looks good on you.
It seems like every financial company talks about investing your way to wealth. But what about protecting what you're building right now? At Northwestern Mutual, we know the importance of doing both. We combine personalized investment solutions that help grow your wealth with world-class insurance that protects what matters most to you. This whole picture approach is just one of the reasons 96% of our clients stay with us year after year. At Northwestern Mutual, we help you live life differently.
Happy to have you with us, and the famous old arena is packed. I mean packed.
The spectacular setting. Happy New Year from Pasadena.
Kurt Gowdy, and a very happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, everyone. Dick Enberg.
It's New Year's Day here at Pasadena, California.
You are looking live at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California. Didn't see that coming, Jess, but there's nowhere I'd rather be than right here at the Rose Bowl game in Pasadena. It is a special, special place. One of the great venues in all of American sport. And really, it's been my pleasure to join those legendary voices. There's the onside kick. Cardinals recover it at midfield. The good hands team out there. Holder and Stallworth. Stallworth making the play.
Brent, you told me this is your 15th Rose Bowl.
You know, I've lost track. The first one I did with Dick Vermeil.
Right.
Okay. We did a Michigan-Washington game. As it turned out, it was Don James' final game. Great shootout. Tyrone Wheatley was the star for the Wolverines. He was named into the Rose Bowl Hall of Fame last year. Dick Vermeil. He's the only man. Vermeil's the only man to have coached a Rose Bowl game and also broadcast.
So you've done 15. This is Stanford's 15th Rose Bowl. They played in the first one in 1902.
I wasn't there now. Come on. Come on. I knew you were setting me up for that now. And there's McCaffrey. And there's the other record for our young man, Christian McCaffrey. We knew he was going to get it somehow. Right?
Somehow, some way. And, you know, he's still going to stay in the game, but I'll tell you what a performance Christian McCaffrey's had from the very, very first play. Christian McCaffrey has left an impact in this game. It's a fitting way for a remarkable season to end in the Rose Bowl, setting multiple records with his family here watching and all David Shaw and the Stanford faithful as well. Wow.
And great work by the Sports Information Office to tell the sideline that the young man was just a couple of receiving yards away as Hogan goes deep for the end zone. Touchdown, Stanford. Michael Rector. The deep threat strikes again. That's a 42-yard touchdown for Hogan. Oh, they get him early. Oh, he did not see that coming. David Shaw with the Gatorade, they ganged up on him on that one.
They sure did. You hear some boos from the Iowa fans. Obviously up 38-16, taking a shot deep on a double move, but there's Rector. He beats Jordan Lomax, the safety outside. I don't know if he got in, Brent. I mean, the football to me looked like it might have been out of bounds. It's where the football is in relationship to the plane.
I thought the football was
it's in his left hand. His right foot's in it. He's kind of cradling it with the left. It's hard to tell if he went over the pylon or not. Now, he touched the pylon, which extends the goal line in that case, which is why it's a touchdown. That was close.
Let me tell you, for anybody who gets upset when somebody scores a touchdown, play football.
Hey, I agree.
I am so beyond that.
I played for Steve Spurrier.
That's right.
If you don't want us to score, stop us.
The extra point. What a game. Unbelievable. As we take a look at tonight's strongest of the strong numbers, brought to you by AT&T. Yes.
Here's a guy that won every award he was up for, really, with the exception of the Heisman Trophy, but 461 all-purpose yards in the Pac-12 title game against USC, fifth most in FBS history. And then he turns around and against what had been a very good Iowa defense, puts up 368 all-purpose yards, which is a Rose Bowl record. The hype that this guy is going to hear and be surrounded by in the offseason is going to be tremendous, and it's very, very well-deserved. The very first play of the game, out of the backfield, long touchdown catch. We saw him running the football conventionally. They tried to attack Iowa's defense on the outside. Great vision, great feet. We saw him in the Wildcat, and then, of course, a huge moment in the second quarter on a punt return for a score. Dancing around, juking and jiving. You can set your Heisman watch list for next season very, very early. Leonard Fournette, LSU, Christian McCaffrey, Stanford.
Some of my friends in the desert were standing and cheering those last couple of touchdowns.
What city in the desert would that be, Ben?
Yes. 61 points now on the board in this Rose Bowl. Just inside in 2 minutes, and here comes King. You know, the one thing, great stop on that. Just, I think, a little short of the 15-yard line. Jesse, the one thing about King, he's going to have a decision to make, too, about staying in school or going to the NFL. And somebody with that kind of talent and everything, you know, is probably leaning towards Sunday football, but we'll have to wait.
Well, and he's got pressure from his family, too. He's the first person on his mom's side of the family that can get his college degree, and that's why she wants him to stay. So I don't know if the decision is as obvious for Desmond King as a lot of other people might think it is. What a day this has been for that family right there. Christian McCaffrey's father, Ed, his mom, his brothers.
Wadley out to the 32. Well, stage is set. Heisman Trophy winner Derrick Henry's had a great year for Alabama to carry the Crimson Tide and that great defense against Deshaun Watson, the undefeated Clemson Tigers. Dabo Swinney, a walk-on at Alabama as a receiver, now having great success as a head coach as the Hawkeyes move it with Wadley. You know, while I'm at it, I want to thank some people down in the truck. Scott Matthews, our producer, his first Rose Bowl. He did a terrific job today. Patrick McManus at the controls as a director. They were helped by Steve Stetz, Ben Hogg, Kathy Hunt, Scott Epstein, Seth Miller, Mary Shoughton, Michael Allen, Mike Gate. They have done such a great job with us all year long. Jacqueline Jameson up here in the booth. Old JJ. She'll go cover the Clipper and those Laker games now on TV. Booth set up Christopher, Scott Mullane. He's the booth audio all year long. And of course the executives who drop by to say hello and wish us a happy new year. John Wildhack, Stephanie Drewley, and Steve Ackles. And what a wonderful, wonderful job. This is just one of the favorite events of everybody at ESPN Sports.
Tell you, being here the last couple of days, Brent, you really feel the history and tradition that is the Rose Bowl game. And that's what it is. It's an event. It's not just a game. You think of all the hundreds and hundreds of volunteers here in Pasadena that put in thousands of hours all year long to make this a special memory, not just for these players and coaches and fans, just fans of college football at home getting a chance to watch this. I remember growing up in Canada every year watching this game every New Year's Day. The history, it's just remarkable. The scenery here, I'm very lucky to have been here calling this game with you.
It was great having you, Jesse. You've done such a terrific job here for the last couple of years. And you were with the 49ers for a while after you left the Giants, right? When you went to the NFL out of Florida.
So I know some guys at San Francisco that might be able to get David Shaw that job that you wanted to get in San Francisco. They could go back to the well again. It worked well for a couple of years with Jim Harbaugh.
He sees me coming and he just shakes his head because he knows I'm coming for him, you know. He has done one of the great coaching jobs in this country over the last decade. We all talk about Nick Saban, and I'm not taking anything away from Nick. Hall of Famer, wonderful job at Alabama. But David Shaw has done a fabulous job out here on the West Coast. Here's Beathard firing, incomplete.
And to your point, Brent, think about what David Shaw does. 3 Pac-12 titles, now 3rd Rose Bowl, 3-time Pac-12 Coach of the Year at a place that has so many academic challenges like Stanford. But under his watch, the last 5 years, he's graduated 99% of his football players. And in the last 4 years, he's sent more guys to the NFL draft picks than any other team in the Pac-12. So he proves there's a model here at Stanford. You can't get not just a good, but a world-class education and strive for your dream of playing in the National Football League. Remarkable what he's done.
Will this be the last play of this Rose Bowl for Iowa? Mitchell's going to hope not. They keep the football. One of the things I want to say about this Iowa team, they did not quit the second half.
No, they didn't.
They played hard.
And I think that's a testament to Kirk Ferentz and this coaching staff and the leaders on Iowa's team.
Complete to Smith. Backup defenders on for Coach Shaw right now. They're shaking hands on that Stanford sideline. They've won another Rose Bowl.
They're gonna be doubted again next year, Brent. All off season, people are gonna say, well, you lost Kevin Hogan, you lost some offensive linemen, you lost 6 starters on defense, you got a brutal schedule next year.
There's one person not gonna be doubted. Number
Christian
5.
McCaffrey. That's right. And I gotta tell you, just like Stanford does every year, just don't talk a lot. They're gonna go back, they're gonna work hard, they're gonna have a quarterback competition between Ryan Burns and Keller Crest. They're going to reload on the offensive line like they always do, and they're just going to do their deal. And, you know, it won't surprise me at all next year if this is a team, once again, behind that guy right there, number 5, Christian McCaffrey, that's competing for yet again another Pac-12 championship.
there's the McCaffrey family. Right after us, it's Oklahoma and Ole Miss. And, of course, the Iowa quarterback, C.J. Beathard, had verbally committed to Ole Miss coming out of high school. And then when there was a coaching change down there, he backed away. And that's when Iowa was able to recruit him. There were some connections with the Beathard family. And so C.J. came to Iowa City. 16 seconds remaining. Fumble. Stanford pounces on it. A period on a tremendous overall performance. Stanford wins the Rose Bowl. Christian McCaffrey breaks 2 records. Greatest formation in football. Kirk Ferentz will go across the field now. Seek out David Shaw.
You guys do a whole good job. Congratulations. Straight here, Coach. Straight here.
They bring out the platform and present the trophy, of course. Named our offensive and defensive MVPs of this game. I don't think there's any question about who the offensive player of the game is going to be. That will be number 5. And number 5 is with Maria Taylor. Let's go to Maria.
Well, Christian, quite an explosive night. You break 2 Rose Bowl records. How aware were you of your production all throughout the game?
Not at all, really. You know, when you're playing, the game goes by so fast, and you really just focus on the next play. And so I think that's why our team is successful, is because, you know, we don't worry about what's happening in the now. We worry about the next play and what we can do to help the team be successful.
Well, it seems as though you guys came out very fast. You had 2 long runs and touchdowns. What was the focus of this team coming into the Rose Bowl game?
Just be us. You know, there's a lot of talk on, you know, a lot of other teams and all that stuff, but we just knew that we can be extremely good when we focus on what we're doing and executing our offensive plays. And so for us, it was just come in and execute.
You found yourself in New York. You were the runner-up for the Heisman Trophy. What kind of motivation did you have coming into this matchup after having such a great journey to New York?
I mean, the motivation always stays there. You know, I mean, all the great players always play with a chip on their shoulder, and you know, that's why you see successful teams do what they do, is because they don't worry about any individual accolades, because, you know, we know that all those are a part of a team, and that's a team win.
And how would you describe the journey of this season? You open up the year with a loss to Northwestern, but make your way back to the Rose Bowl game. What have you guys been talking about in the locker room to make it to this moment?
You know, we just never gave up. You know, when everybody else had their chips against us, you know, we bought into each other, and we bought into, you know, what Stanford football means, and that's never giving up, and that's being extremely, you know,
better than Barry.
You know, very detailed on offense and not giving up. But, you know, we had a choice. We could have folded after that first game or come together, and you know, I couldn't ask for better teammates and better people to enjoy this win with, because, you know, it was us against the wall when we were playing.
All right, you hear people saying Heisman behind me. Will that be on your mind at all when you take the field in our season?
No, you know, you can't focus on all that stuff at all. You got to really just focus on you and becoming the best player you could be.
Right, thanks for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
What a grounded young man he is, Jesse. And in that interview, you know, he's been around his father, Ed, through the years. He's seen how professional athletes handle themselves. Longest of his career was the first play from scrimmage for Stanford here today. And he broke the single season school rush record, and he became the first person in history with 100 rush yards and 100 receiving yards, and another Rose Bowl record, 368 all-purpose yards after he had broken the FBS.
And to your point, Brent, one of the great single seasons we've ever seen in college football, and an historic finish, an historic performance here, and an historic game for Christian McCaffrey. Unbelievable to watch.
So that wraps us up here in Pasadena. But remember, we're going to send you to the All-State Sugar Bowl. Oklahoma State and Ole Miss. And a reminder that a week from Monday, of course, it'll be the national championship. Clemson and Alabama. Now, let's throw it to Bob Wischerson and Brock Heward at the Sugar Bowl.